Welcome in to a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live, powered, and driven here by Ghost Chevrolet. Shout out to Ghost Chevrolet. They are located in LaPlace, Louisiana. If you're looking for a brand new car, used car, check them out at Go Express Auto Sales. Ghost Chevrolet, G-E-A-U-X, Chevrolet.com. We are jumping right into it this morning with the number one wide receiver in the state of Louisiana and one of the top players in the country in Shazz Preston. Signing day is a week away. Everybody in the country is after the St. James wide receiver is the Wildcats. Great senior season. He's joining us here on the way to school. Shazzy, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good morning. Doing good. How's it going?
It is it's great to have you back here on the show, man. Tell me a little bit about your senior season. How's it going?
But as everybody knows, it didn't as we all wanted to, but it's all, I believe in God has bigger things in store for us. But yeah, all of us on our team, so they just gotta get back in the lab, and we gotta do what they do best, and just work. That's all we gotta do. But the season by itself, I think we did good. We're pretty young this year, so I think the people that's coming back, they're gonna have more understanding of the game, and they're gonna make a good run.
What was your high school experience like?
It was amazing. Still collecting some memories out of school, because I'm gonna stay the whole year at St. James. But as of this point, up to now, it was a blessing, and I'm glad I made the move.
Absolutely, man. It is. It's great to talk to you. It was great to watch you play in high school, but now all eyes are on you and what you are going to choose next week. What is this part of the process like for you as you kind of come down the final stretch here towards signing day?
It's really a stress relief, and it's exciting because as you said, a lot of people are wondering where I'm going to school at, and it's not saying you're ready to get all this over with, but it'll be glad to finally call the place I call home.
Absolutely. We talked to Mickey Joseph here on Sunday night. Joseph is tight with your dad. You had a great relationship with him. He was the LSU wide receivers coach. They have since experienced a coaching change. What is your relationship like with LSU as you go into making this decision?
I know Brian Kelly. He is a winning caliber type of dude. And I know that his guys at Notre Dame or whoever he's bringing in is going to have that same mentality he has. So I know Brian Kelly is probably going to flip the program around and bring whoever he needs to bring to get back to the Natty.
You don't have to tell me where it is, but do you know where you're going?
No, sir.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Shazz?
All right. Do you have a list? Do you have a finalists?
Yeah, I have a Final Four.
Final Four.
Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and LSU.
Okay.
All right. That's a strong list.
Kind of what stands out about each of them?
Basically, out of all my four schools, I can't go wrong. They all have the same system to, bring me to like the league standpoint, or just build me as a person, and to build me as a character standpoint. But at each school, they just have something different than each other. So it's just all in time being what's gonna happen between now and next week.
Shazz, do you model your game after another type of receiver, or do you watch a receiver, pretty closely and say this is kind of how I want to play the position?
I mean, not really, but I do have a favorite player, though. The reason why I started playing football.
Who's that?
Michael Vick.
Michael Vick. I love me some Michael Vick.
Is that why you wear 7?
Probably undercoverly, but the real reason why I probably wear 7 is because my brother, he came to St. James too.
Yeah.
And he wore number 7, and so all my parents and stuff, all my cousins and family stuff always had 7 on, so it didn't make no sense to, get another jersey.
Love that.
The top wide receiver in the state of Louisiana, one of the best players in the country. He's got more swag than anybody that's playing right now.
No doubt.
Rocking number 7 at St. James. Going to make his decision next week. What has the recruiting process been like? Have you enjoyed this process?
I'm most definitely there. You know, I wouldn't take anything back. I'll do it. Honestly, I'll do it all again the way I handled it. It was a blessing to have all these coaches reaching out to me and, you know, just telling me how great of a player I am. But not just great of a player I am, a greater person I am. That means I'm going in the right direction. And God put me in the position for me to be the most successful.
So, have you talked to Brian Kelly?
Not really, not yet, really, because he said he wanted to get all the commits first, and he was gonna come back and get all the other recruits.
So how are you going to make your decision?
Say it again.
How are you going to make your decision? You doing something at school?
Yes, sir.
So you're going to make it on National Signing Day?
Yes, sir.
What-
On ESPN.
Nice.
Yeah, let's go.
What game are you playing in?
The All-American game.
Yeah, which
The
one?
Under-Armour game.
Oh, nice.
Under Armour.
Let's go, man. Shazz Preston, the number 1 wide receiver in the state. Have a great day at school, man. Thank you for joining us on what I know is a very busy time in your life. Best of luck in the decision over the next week, and enjoy this process. It only happens once in your life, man. You deserve it. Thank you.
I appreciate y'all.
All right,
Thank
man.
you.
Good luck. There is Shazz Preston, the number 1 wide receiver in the state, walking into school here
Love that.
on a Tuesday morning. Didn't sound too good for the locals there.
Would you say that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it sounded bad or good. I think he knows who's going.
I think he does
That's-
too. I think he does too.
The no conversation yet stinks.
Yeah.
You'd hope that
That's
somebody would
okay,
make
though.
some
It's all right.
contact. I don't fanboy often. Shazz is that dude.
He
Yeah.
is that dude.
He just has that.
He is that dude. He's a young Jamar
swag.
Chase.
That's what it feels like.
I mean, he definitely.
That's the guy that
feels
you
the
want.
shoulder.
Dude,
Like
recruiting now has. It's so crazy, dude. Like
It
these
is.
these kids coming out of high school now, like they have so much more fanfare and so much more publicity going into college than like when I was coming out of school. And there's like 3 All-American games now, right?
Yeah.
Back when I was coming out, all they had was the U.S. Army game. in
That
San
was the
Antonio.
thing to watch
Yeah,
too.
I got
My
to go.
God.
I went to the underclass combine when I was a junior.
Nice.
I got invited to go to it, bro. I went there as a quarterback. You know who I had to go up against? It was like Andrew Luck, Dane Christ, who was the number 1 quarterback in the country.
He was at Notre Dame, didn't he?
Yeah, they had like 5 or 6 guys, and like I ran a really good 40. I had all these good times, but then I had to do these football drills, these quarterback drills, and like throw routes. And my mom was there, my uncle was there. I was like, hey, I think
This might not be for me.
my arms is almost just as good. Like I got all this, but like I don't think quarterback is probably not my position. If these are the guys that are the best, like these guys are way more polished than me. It's
How good
crazy.
was Luck at that time?
Dude?
He was the
I'm-
dude.
was a
okay,
robot.
so funny story. So we're going through the whole process, and like when you're there, you have like it's like a combine style deal. You have the 40, you have the vertical, but then you talk to media, you have a bunch of different stuff. My mom, now obviously Andrew Luck's an extremely smart kid, and his dad was a coach. Like he's been around it. And my mom heard him speak, and he was speaking. He was talking. Oh no, it was like an interview. It was an interview, and my mom was like, you know what? I like this kid a lot. She had no idea who he was. I'm gonna follow him. This was our junior years in high school. So like she had the Google alert on me and the Google alert on Andrew Luck, all the way up until he was the number 1 draft pick in the NFL. I was like, damn, you saw that from the beginning.
Evaluator.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like-
get her in the room.
She liked the way he like approached it. I like this guy a lot. I'm gonna follow him, and like it was just the running joke. I was like, Mom, that was a great recruiting.
called it on
buddy.
Andrew
Yeah,
Luck.
that was nice.
Good stuff from Shazz Preston here early this morning on his way to school as Shazz, the number 1 wideout in the state, gave a little insight on his recruiting. Next week going to be a crazy ride for it was the top 4: Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and LSU.
I mean, the strongest 4 you
yeah,
could
the
have,
who's who.
probably.
What time is that day? It's gonna be a big day in the UDL.
That's going to be a huge day. Yeah, so I believe that's what December 13th is the first national
So
signing day.
next Monday
We might want to double check
or
on that.
Tuesday.
But
I got you.
it is next week. And as Shaz said, he'll make his announcement on national television, as he'll make it on
Most
ESPN.
of these kids are probably doing it that day, right?
Yeah.
Most of them. Yeah.
Wednesday, February 2nd.
No, that's the late signing.
That's the
period.
late signing day.
What's the early
And then
signing?
the early signing period is next week.
Can we just?
And
I
I believe
start,
I believe it's like a 3-day period.
Can we just start saying it's the signing period and then the late signing period, not the early. Like the early signing period is now the signing period, right? Like it's February 2nd is just. That's not as big as it was before. Like this one's the signing period now.
December 15th.
This is the huge one.
Yeah, so that's Wednesday.
I mean, you'll probably see 90%, 95% of the top recruits and the recruits sign here coming up because a lot of them are going to be early enrollees. I mean, like Walker Howard is.
Yeah, that's the new move.
Is going to be an early enrollee. A lot of these guys are going to be early enrollees here as they'll check in for the second semester.
Did you imagine it would change like this to where it would be like this is? Because, I mean, growing up, I remember signing day being signing day. Like, I remember you would go, like, I remember watching Patrick Peterson pick a hat. Like, that was the thing to do. You would watch those games, and that's when people decided. And once they came out with the early signing period, it kind of took off. But now it really seems to be that is, like you said, the signing period of when you have to, like, it's almost why you were worried about who LSU was going to have as their head coach because you wanted people, you wanted your staff kind of in place for the early signing period as opposed to National Signing Day.
And I know some coaches hate it because
it accelerates your timeline.
When it's so early, but if there is an early signing period, you can't where are you going to move it to? You can't move it till early January. That's too close to the other signing period, and these kids can't enroll early.
Yeah.
So how do you can't? I mean, this is literally the dead period of college football. Really, like you have. No game. We have the Army Navy game this weekend, but that's it. And then you have the next weekend. You don't have any games, and then the bowl games start. And it's like, yeah, it sucks, but there's no other time you can kind of have this early period.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like teams playing last week in championship games are preparing for championship games, like Big 12, SEC championship type games, and you're out recruiting. I mean. I saw Nick Saban was up in Shreveport yesterday.
He gets
Kendrick
to go
Law.
drop his dick on the table after winning an SEC championship again.
Billy Napier in back in Louisiana yesterday representing Florida.
No Florida on Shaz's list.
No Florida on Shaz.
Feels like Alabama. If he does that, that would be brutal.
I know this is a complete pivot, but how about UL hiring and
I mean,
he was there when I was. He's like a little bit older than me.
Michael DeSormo is the new head coach at Louisiana as he takes over for Billy Napier, and this is a hire within. And I've always heard like glowing,
he's unbelievable,
great things about.
And look,
DeSormo.
he was there from the early days, like the bustle days, I think, and then he's been there ever since. He came back as like a grad or whatever he was, and then he's lasted through all the coaches. What kind of tells you a little bit everything you really need to know about him, right? Like he's a good enough guy, and he knows enough football to where he basically stayed through 3 or 4 different coaches. But yeah, interesting move.
It is one of their own for sure, and it's somebody who was hired within, and from all accounts from the people down there, it seems like it's very well received, and it's within the locker room was very well accepted. Southern hired a new head coach on Monday as well, as they named Eric Dooley their permanent head coach over here in Baton Rouge as the Jaguars finished up their season on Saturday versus Prairie View. He Dooley replaced his Jason Rollins, who was the interim head coach. So a lot of coaching moves happening right now within college football that we're paying attention to. Another thing we're paying attention to, and this is something that we talked about for a while, and I think that this is going to start becoming the norm in college football. Did you see what Texas did with the NIL deal? Did you see what's going on here?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about the teams with the biggest boosters and the biggest monies, being able to exert themselves.
All the monies.
It is now very wide open.
Into college football, and you look up here on this Monday or yesterday, and check this story out. Texas football is about to get an NIL deal for nearly the entire team. Horns with Heart. Horns with Heart, a nonprofit charity organization based in Austin, Texas, will provide every Texas offensive lineman on scholarship with a $50,000 a year annual NIL deal to be a part of the program. This is the latest in a series
The Pancake Factory
of launches by Longhorn boosters and supporters in hopes of helping with recruiting and bringing more recognition towards the program. This program is set to be named the Pancake Factory, in large part due to, obviously, the offensive linemen and what kind of sets them apart. And one of the things that stands out, the Pancake Factory is set to begin in August of 2022 with a total of $800,000 annually earmarked for every offensive lineman on scholarship at the University of Texas. Another company sponsoring Texas players named Clark Field Collective says that they will throw in more money for this deal, which means that Texas offensive linemen next season, if you're on scholarship as a Texas offensive lineman, you will make a minimum of $150,000
at school
next year.
Oh, just 1 year.
On campus next football season, because the NIL deals, the way that the rules are read, is that you can only get paid within the season. So every school, every scholarship player for Texas, every scholarship offensive lineman on the roster is going to be making at least $150K per season. The NIL deal began earlier this season, where players were able to sign with companies, organizations. Obviously, know all this. The $50,000 set by the Pancake Factory is merely just the starting figure for players who come to Austin. Other deals are already starting to line up and fall into place.
This is what everybody's been. This is what the worry was.
This is the litmus test, right? This will be the one that you look at name, image, and likeness and go, is this okay in college football or not?
Well,
because if you're going to give away six figures,
and this takes away all of the parity in college football.
There was none.
No, there has been. I mean, this year has been the most parity in college football that there's probably ever been. I mean,
yeah, sure.
Cincinnati's the only undefeated team in the playoff.
This has been the most. This has been the year where the playoff has been proven, and it makes you feel like, all right, it seems all right to expand.
Right, but you know, they have like you have the transfer portal, so all these good kids, like I just saw today,
Virginia
Center, who's a Remington Award finalist, is in the transfer portal. Now that's Virginia. That's still
Oluwadimma.
He jumped right into it.
Yeah, OLU. Spell this out.
You want this floaty?
OLUWATIMI.
I'm not even that.
Wadimi?
Wadimi. Oh, Big Olu.
Yeah. Anyways.
The Big O.
The Big O. He's coming for Virginia. Virginia's an ace. Like, that's a bigger school, right? So he's
a Remington Award finalist.
Right. And so now these guys. Now that's just Virginia. Now let's say you have a guy from Liberty or a guy from Memphis or a guy from wherever, and all these schools that are good.
You see it with the UCF quarterback.
Right. They're all going to transfer out.
Yeah.
Into bigger schools, right? That was already hurting football a little bit. Now you have this deal with the NIL, which I'm all for NIL. I'm all for playing players. I'm all for. But what it's going to do is when you have stuff like this, how do you have a charity? A nonprofit that's just giving money for them. It's not a cause.
It's so Texas, dude.
It is.
It's so money laundering.
I tell you what we're going to do, boys.
Yeah, we'll get your little 501(c)(3) together.
Dude,
we'll
sit down, son.
Yeah.
You're giving them this money, and it's like, man, these kids are making $150K as offensive linemen. They're not even starting.
Yeah, where do you think that guy from Virginia's going to go? He's probably eyeballing Texas pretty hard right now.
What do you think the receivers and the quarterbacks are going to get, and the running backs and the safeties and the cornerbacks, the guys that actually are visible and seen and have a little bit more swag to them? How much money do you think they're going to end up getting?
Shazz, we have a group meet started right now.
Plus,
Don't worry about it.
Plus,
Texas is one of the finalists for Shazz.
Yeah,
well, you're going to listen to the offensive linemen?
Here's my deal, though. Let's say you have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. You have probably 10 offensive linemen, you would think, maybe more. On a roster, on scholarship.
On scholarship, 8 to 10.
8 to 10, right? But you only have 4. So let's say that they're getting $150,000 a person for the offensive lineman, and there's 10 of them. Can you imagine what's going to happen with the quarterback room or the receiver room where really the quarterback room only has 4?
How much money is Arch Manning going to
That's what I mean. Hey, you're giving these kids $150.
Yeah,
okay, every quarterback's getting $300.
Exactly. That's the thing. You don't even know if Arch Manning's that good. and he is
But
going
everybody
to
wants
demand.
him.
I mean, there's going to be a Texas booster. If they're offering offensive linemen that aren't playing
That's what I mean.
$150K
That's
a
my
year,
point.
Arch Manning is literally going to get a deal for probably $2 to $5 million a season.
Do you think they'll even release it because it'll be a number that you'll
No.
be like, this
Oh, I
might
think
be
that-
bad for the sport?
I think this. What do you think this is?
I know, but this is offensive line that'll blow over. But if
There's
you see
gonna
an
be-
actual deal come out where an 18-year-old gets a deal out of college for $2 million, and be like, well, this thing's broken, right? Like, if you mean
How do you regulate this?
right, you can't right
Well-
now. There's no rules
well,
really.
who is?
So I mean, how do you
NCAA.
how is there? I mean, how do you make it?
Top
How do you
25.
make it from? How do you make it from becoming like a free agent deal, free agency
Yeah,
deal, like in the
that-
NFL?
At this point, I don't know how it wouldn't be, right? Like, this is the game that you got in. You got into professional sports. This is what
Yeah.
it looks like. And
No,
you
this
have
is-
your pick of the litter.
This is what everybody was talking about
Shaz ignored all of this part.
when we were talking about NIL and the impact that it could have on the game, on athletics, on intercollegiate sports. This is the impact right here where you've got just mega money, mega boosters, mega ego, and let's just pay everybody.
Just do it.
Let's just pay everybody. Just pay every offensive lineman on staff that if they have a scholarship, let them know that they'll be making at a minimum $150,000 a year.
I mean, this is
I mean, you saw it happen with Quinn Ewers already. He went to Ohio State, graduated from a Texas high school early where he couldn't make money from an NIL deal because he was still in high school. Graduates early, enrolls early into Ohio State,
going back to Texas.
and now he has to decommit essentially from Ohio State, enter the transfer portal, commits to Texas, and then decommits from Texas in the same day. So he's on the Tate Martell path of
Whoa. So he transferred. He was
he
put
was
himself,
at Ohio State,
and I just saw that he put his name in the portal this year.
and then he committed to Texas for a hot
Like
second,
when? Like
a
recently?
day, and then decommitted from Texas again.
Right.
Like just now, recently.
Yes.
Oh wow, I
Well,
didn't know that.
and I see A&M's trending, right?
Right. Well, he's a Texas guy, but
Right.
he went to Ohio State originally because of all the name, image, and likeness money he was able to
I mean, technically,
grab from Ohio State, and now that it doesn't seem like Caleb Stroud's going to win the Heisman, but it seems like he's going to be the starter
Yeah.
for the next 3 years.
Yeah,
so
C.J. Stroud is, and the four Heisman finalists were named yesterday. Bryce
How
Young's on
does
the list.
Corral not be in
I don't
that?
know how Matt Corral does not make it. Aiden Hutchinson's on it from Michigan, which, I mean, he's got to highlight a game where he bull rushes a tackle into the quarterback.
He's got like 15 sacks. He's good.
Yeah, I mean, he impacts
stud.
every single game.
Yeah, yeah.
C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, Pickett from Pittsburgh, and
The old fake slide.
Pickett, yeah, I mean, he's going to have the Kenny Pickett role.
yeah, he'll have the rule named after him.
Oh,
And then the winner, who is going to be Bryce Young. I wonder. I saw the news on Ewers yesterday, and Ewers made a ton of money by graduating early, and he was the quarterback at South. Was it
South Lake Carroll?
South Lake Carroll?
He should be a senior this year.
And he
right?
should be a senior right now. He's the number one recruit in the country, the number one quarterback in the country. When he decided to leave early, that's where Walker was kind of bumped up to that top spot. You know, I mean, take the top three quarterbacks and throw their names in a hat. You take one, I'll take the other. We'll
I'll
be
take
all right.
Walker.
But so Quinn Ewers goes to Ohio State and misses his senior season. Now he makes a boatload of cash. I wonder how his experience is going to be looked back on because of the things that he's missed out on, and now kind of the domino effect that it started. When I saw his name enter the portal yesterday, I did think kind of down the lines of Tate Martell.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I mean, like following him coming up, you throw rose petal at this guy's feet the entire time. You never allow him to really have the experience of going through adversity and being a football player. You know what I mean? Like up to that point last year, I don't know a lot about Quinn Ewers, but just the part that I do know about him, I kind of feel sorry for him, even though he's got probably $2 million in the bank and never taken a snap of college football.
Well, here's the deal, though. You get caught up in the money, and you get caught up in, oh, man, I'm really good. This is how much money I'm going to make. He was going to make that much. Honestly, to be honest with you, if he'd have stayed his senior season going into this year, he probably would have made more going into college this year, giving the NIL a year to kind of figure itself out and say, how do we maximize the amount of money we can give to players? And then he can make a decision on, okay, I don't need to go to Ohio State, obviously, because C.J. Stroud's doing it. I can go stay in state and get paid a whole boatload of money, even probably more than he would have made at Ohio State. And it forces these kids to grow up, and you just got they're not allowed to be a kid
don't get the
anymore.
experience.
It's too much.
Yeah,
It seems like a little bit too much too fast, right? That's certainly what happened with Tate Martell, who was watching the Michigan-Ohio State game. He was in the stands.
Ugh.
Like, so that's how far from grace you can fall. Tate Martell never really played any college football. Like, he bounced around from every college you could ever touch, but never really got to do anything that you would see that was tangible for a 5-star dual-threat quarterback. And if you're Quinn Ewers, you have to look at that and be a little scared, because if you're him, you go, well, let me grab it now because Texas wasn't offering it. I can't make any money right now. I have no idea if they're going to shut this thing down. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with name, image, and likeness. So let me not play for a year, get paid, hit the transfer portal for free, and then go find another school. It makes a lot of sense in my mind. It was a quick cash grab.
Honestly, it was just instead of enrolling in school early, like Walker's doing. That's basically what he did. He just got a full year of it and actually on the field doing.
Yeah.
How much?
He didn't play, right? He didn't get in the game, right?
No.
He didn't play. So
was he allowed to play? Like, he would have been able.
Yeah,
he was eligible to play.
Yeah,
he just enrolled early.
He was dressed out and everything.
So if you have the amount of credits that you need, you can just go to college like that. Like, you can go that
That's
quickly.
like the basketball player that we have. What's his name? Justice Williams.
Justice Williams.
He was supposed to be a senior. This
Reclassified.
year. Yeah.
I just said I've seen it in college basketball. I've just never seen it in college football before, where it was that quick. It didn't seem like there was not a lot of questions asked for Quinn Ewers, and now I guess he's in the transfer portal, and this is his one time to use it, right?
Yep.
Like, you only get the one burn, and he's going to do it in his pre-freshman year.
Yeah.
We got a little
derailed here.
Kelvin Banks, the 5-star tackle, who was high on LSU. LSU was high on him. Has been an Oregon commit for the last 6 months out of Texas.
Ooh.
Decommitted yesterday about 30 minutes after after Hearts with Horns, or whatever the name. What was it called? Horns with Hearts.
Whatever they would have branded that money laundering.
And this is an offensive lineman or defensive lineman?
5-star tackle offensive lineman.
This is a game changer.
And Mario Cristobal's not there anymore. Like, that obviously.
That is a point taken. But I mean, if you're looking at the timeline, Horns with Heart is announced, and 30 minutes later, this kid decommits.
No.
You know, and I mean,
if I'm Oregon,
especially the amount of offensive linemen that are jumping into the portal. We mentioned that Virginia's got a lot of guys going in because Bronco Mendenhall announced that he's stepping away from the University of Virginia. And a lot of people looked at him as kind of like a stable, not going anywhere. Great name. Great football name. He's walking away from that Virginia job, stepping down. So a lot of the offensive linemen, a lot of the players on that roster are throwing their names into the transfer portal. And there's a lot of good offensive linemen that are going to be, kind of up for grabs. And LSU has to be at the front of the line for a lot of these guys just because of the need they have at that position.
What can we do?
And if you're getting outbid by Texas when they can offer $150K to anybody who's on scholarship at that position group, I mean, you're playing from far, far behind.
I mean, everybody is. I mean, if I'm Oregon,
what do we?
I'm walking up to Phil Knight and say, "Hey, Philly boy, I need some. I know you got all this stuff. You've done all this stuff for us, but hey, we've got to figure. You see what Texas is doing? We've got to figure something out to get these guys. We have a new coach. We have no hype coming in here anymore. We've got to figure something out."
Who was their new coach? Have they announced yet? Mario Cristobal goes to Miami. Goes back to his roots.
Okay. Can I vent a little bit about this Miami deal?
Sure.
Bro, what the fuck, man?
Watch yourself, bro.
I'm sorry, but what the F?
Before 8.
What are we doing if you're Miami? How unprofessional what are we doing over there? You can't hire and not fire a coach and say, hey, by the way, we're going to hire this guy, but if he says no, we're going to retain you, but we don't know if we really want to retain you, but we have to retain you. And then we're going to hire coaches without having an athletic director. So the athletic director has to get hired after the coach is hired.
It was a jump.
I don't understand this, man.
I cannot imagine.
I don't understand.
Which, if I'm Clemson and I'm Oregon, I got lawyers crawling up the asses of Dan Radakovich and Mario Cristobal's people to make sure they have it talked. But there's no way that you can hire those two positions without those guys or without those people having conversations and being talking.
No doubt, but it's just bad optics, man.
But Miami has been lost for years.
But that's why.
I mean, they have been absolutely swinging and missing. And to me, Mario Cristobal is Al Golden. He is Manny Diaz. He is the next in line that you're 4 years from now are going to have to be having to replace.
Well, they're following the model. They saw what Coach O did at LSU and like, oh, what if we get one of our guys?
Yeah,
and
how
they
can
tried.
you not look at this thing as a cautionary tale.
That's what I would think. But
I
would argue Arkansas did the same thing with Sam Pittman. Like,
So you're
there's
saying-
a good bit of.
But I can look at Sam Pittman and I can look at Ed Ogeron and I can see if he's got that alpha mentality where he's still got that juice in him. Like Sam Pittman he's a football coach.
Yeah.
He's worried about his football team.
Yeah.
Ed Ogeron was worried about the quad.
No,
You
but
know
he,
what I
no,
mean?
he was worried about his football team until he wasn't.
He was
Once
worried
you
about the
win,
beach.
yes, once you win, you
but
start worrying about the beach.
I don't see Pittman in that line of like.
We didn't see O in that line.
No, we did. He proved it at Ole Miss. We just thought he changed.
Yeah. I mean, he did have a track record of showing you, like, he may not be able to handle success. You know, I mean, it's just.
I mean, that's what he was at Ole Miss. But you think Dan? How do you say his last name?
Radakovich.
Dan Radakovich.
Radakovich. You think Dan Radakovich wanted Mario Cristobal? You think that was his pick?
I can't.
Yes.
I cannot.
You do.
I cannot imagine
I mean,
that the University of Miami could go to an athletics director and say that we've already made the football hire, which is incredible. That I mean, I was listening to the local hour of Levitard's podcast, and they talk a lot about the University of Miami because the producer is a proud kind of alum
Golden
Cane type guy in Mike Ruiz. And he's got a lot of good information on Miami. And he said that the university wanted to keep those two orders of business separate. And I thought that is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. If they want to keep the athletic director and the football coach totally separate entities. I mean, if you saw anything late last week when LSU introduced Brian Kelly, it was all about alignment. It was all about personnel. It was all about having the right people in place and trusting the leadership and the people above him from a vision that they sold. So there's no way that Radakovich would leave Clemson
right.
and Cristobal leave Oregon, which is a sweet gig, and come down to Miami without at least talking. Like, without at least having
I
a
agree.
conversation.
I just don't know. If I'm Miami, I'm saying, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hire Cristobal. I'm going to hire Dan Radakovich. I'm going to go and say, you know what? Hey, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, y'all want to be co-defensive coordinators? Hey, Frank Gore, you want to be the running backs coach? Hey, Ken Dorsey, whoever else, y'all want to come and be the offensive coordinators? And just say, you know what? If this is what I'm going to do and just go hire guys because I want to have, like, the Miami deal, well, go get the Miami deal. In 2000, all these guys were there, and they still love it. Make them be the coaches and say, hey, go get recruits. But that's kind of what it feels like they're trying to do. And it's
they
like,
are finally spending money. Like, for the first time, they're spending money and committing resources and finances to positions of leadership, specifically to those two, to the athletics department and to the football program. I mean, like we said, the model at Miami has always kind of been to win with underachievers. You know what I mean? Kind of have, overachievers.
Yeah,
excuse me. I'm sorry. But kind of overachieve with, what you would think to be underachieving mentalities. Like, I mean, these guys like Dennis Erickson coming in there, and he wasn't really thought of. Jimmy Johnson was a young
They
assistant.
think the talent will prevail every time. Like,
Absolutely.
they plug and play in Miami.
Well,
If you can go in and recruit, then you can get the guys, but that hasn't proven to be the model. They brought Ed Reed in. He is a part of the staff.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And that's something that, like, if you are Miami and almost LSU to a certain extent, you kind of have to lean on your alumni base whenever it gets – Miami's in a bad spot.
Well,
so when it gets this
alumni,
bad, you have to lean on these guys. We're like, all right, can we get a Ray Lewis? Can we get an Ed Reed? Can we get somebody to pitch the program and bring it back to what it was when it was the U?
But the thing about it, when you have the alumni like they have, like with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, like those guys aren't just like, they weren't just really good players in college, and they weren't just really good players in the NFL. They were leaders on their team. Like, they were respected.
They're the brand.
They're respected around the league, though, as like very, not just talent-wise, but like intelligent, smart football players. And like Ed Reed, like when you listen to Ed Reed's speech at halftime,
I'm hurt,
like,
dog.
I wanna go and run through a freaking wall, dude. Like when Ray Lewis talks, I wanna like, and that's what they
asking
bring.
me if I'm hurt?
Yeah,
I'm hurt.
dog. Yeah, that's what they bring though. Like,
Dude.
that's that respect,
Hit
and they
it.
understand the football. They understand how to do it, how to coach it. But I mean, I'm not saying that's who they should hire. I'm just saying like that.
Yeah.
If they at least they can lean on the alumni like those guys to be able to bring him a little bit back.
I hit Ed Reed with the "I'm hurt, dog" at the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. He loved it.
Did he?
He was like, oh, because we were going out, we were trying to escort him around. He was a big deal. Whenever, like, even in Natchitoches, they knew who he was. He's like, Jesus, kind of. I was like, I'm hurt, dog. Don't ask me if I'm hurt. And he's like, let's go. I was like, yes.
The players that left Louisiana. In the late '90s, early 2000s.
Sickening.
Ed Reed work done.
Reggie Wayne.
Sickening.
Reggie Wayne.
A lot of them went to Miami.
Raynoch Thompson. Remember him?
No.
Linebacker at Tennessee.
Oof.
On the national championship
I mean,
squad.
the Mannings.
St. Aug.
Oh my God.
Anthony Thomas, the A train at Michigan. Who's the wide receiver from North Louisiana that went up to Notre Dame? From Bird.
This is your area. Yeah, this
I'm
is
too
your
young.
area.
I'm too young.
Dick Jones, has Shazz been on here yet? Yep, he was here earlier. Just if you're on YouTube,
But if you're LSU,
you can rewind it.
If you're LSU, we got to come up with something, right? If there's pancakes for pleasure or whatever,
I'm willing to bet there's something in the works,
right? Because this is how you do something for the skill players now. You one up Texas. Wouldn't that be the move if they're going to do an offensive line?
You don't want to get into a piston match with Texas.
No.
But you got to get in the game.
You got to get in the game for sure. Travis Minor, Cordell Stewart, two others. Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, wow.
Travis Minor is the best high school football player that I've ever witnessed play. Travis Minor, like week in, week out, because I was a sophomore on Catholic High's team when he was a senior. Didn't play. You know what I mean? Like,
what number were you?
Back of the bench.
108?
17. You know what I mean? Yeah, like 107.
Culotta, not here.
Yeah, right. But that was the year he was named the National Gatorade Player of the Year. Like he was the number one recruit in the country, and every time he touched the ball, he scored. He brought the opening kickoff back against West Monroe, his senior season in the state semifinals in front of probably about 25,000 people at West Monroe.
Comfortable.
In one of the most intimidating and incredible high school atmospheres I have ever seen. And he only touched the ball 11 times after that. For whatever reason.
Wow.
He only touched it 11 times after that, and he scored 3 touchdowns, including the opening kickoff.
So 3 total.
So he scored 3 total.
3 tugs, 11 touches.
But 11 touches, including the kickoff. And it was some crazy reason why they.
Well, I'm sure he was already going to college.
Major Applewhite was the quarterback, who went on to
wow.
Texas and was the Big 12 Player of the Year. Greg Brown was the starting wide receiver, who they turned into a safety at Texas. Aaron Boone was the backup tailback on that team that signed with Clemson and was a running back on that squad.
Look at your memory.
The defensive end on that team was he was a big white guy who signed with Tennessee. I'm telling you, it was the best high school football team I had ever laid my eyes on, and West Monroe beat them in the state championship with it wasn't Tommy Banks. It might have been Tommy Banks. It was Tommy Banks and West Monroe.
Wow, the fullback.
They couldn't stop the fullback dive.
Who was the best player you've ever seen in high school?
Kendrick Shanklin was the cornerback on that team, signed with Kentucky, came into Tiger Stadium.
That's
2 years later. Kendrick Shanklin was Travis Minor was a senior. Shanklin was a junior.
Oh,
so
God.
Shanklin,
so we're about to run this thing back.
Shanklin was the tailback the next year,
one.
right? And he signs with Kentucky. His freshman year, Kentucky comes into Tiger Stadium, and Shanklin takes two punts to the house. As a freshman.
That's like 7 or 8 D1 guys on one high school team.
It was unbelievable. And Major Applewhite was,
wow.
He was like calling his own plays type of guy, like in high school. You know what I mean? Like,
offensive coordinator already.
It was unbelievable how smart he was in an offensive setting, like on a chalkboard.
That's crazy.
Even like at 15, 14,
he just got it.
With like I had no dog, and I care less about that. You know what I mean? Like I was never going to play, but just when you would get in that setting and watch him, it was just like, it was almost like a wizard. You know what I mean? How he could just, it was amazing. But I mean,
you could tell a lot about a player how quickly they can draw the offensive lineman on the chalkboard. You're like, all right, he's done this a ton of times. Because we watched a little Dave Aranda break down like the board, and he was talking about how to do like different pressures and how quickly he got the center guard tackle up was just like, this is all right, this should already be on the board.
Yeah.
Like, so if you have a quarterback doing that at 15 years old, I'd imagine that's where Arch kind of is, right? You would hope that
Yeah.
that's what you're kind of banking on is his football acumen, to where he can get on the chalkboard and be like, all right, this is a cover 2 beater. I mean, you saw it last time with Peyton and Eli. You can see how they talk football just like it's almost a different language to them.
Arnez Battle was the was the wide receiver out of
Wow.
North Louisiana that went to Notre Dame.
Yep.
God,
Good find there,
I mean, it
West
really
Shin.
does make-
Marshall Falk.
God,
Marshall
it-
Falk with the San
Put
Diego
a fence
State.
around the freaking state, man.
I mean, we're working on it. We're working on it.
San Diego State.
Who's the best player you've ever? Because you're younger. Or a
Joe
little
Mc,
younger.
I saw Joe McKnight in the state championship game. That he brought 2 punts back.
Yeah.
They got one called back, the first punt of the game, and he did the Reggie Bush. Like
Yeah.
he touched both sidelines.
Well, they thought he was going to be.
He
Reggie
was
Bush.
like
Yeah.
in high school. He was.
Right.
It was
In high school, he
unbelievable,
was.
and it was something.
What about
Like,
the player you've played against though?
oh God.
Trev Falk was the best player I've ever played against.
And when you see him, you know it. And
Trev Falk.
And you're
He knocked my head. He made me think, do I really like football?
Yeah.
right.
You know what I mean? Like I wonder. I mean, like up until that point, you were just kind of dancing out there. Nobody
I feel like I could
hit
play
you,
with these
right?
guys. You know.
You come to a complete stop and try to cut back on somebody, and he put the crown of his helmet in my ear hole, running full speed at me, and picked my feet. Like my feet came up off the ground, and for like I was on all fours, thinking,
This is not for me.
I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
I wish he'd have stayed for his senior season.
Nick Jacobs, he went to LSU as a
Yeah.
tight end, kind of ran into some trouble, but he played at Manny, and he had no business playing against who he was playing against, which was 2A white kids.
Yeah.
And when he got off the bus, he kicked, he punted, played tight end, played defensive end, and we just could not do it. Like anytime they needed a point, a touch, Nick Jacobs, like you could old school shovel pass it to
Yeah.
him. And it took 8 people to tackle him. Like you're way too big to be out 6'5", 240 in high school.
Yeah.
And
Mine
we were
was-
not that.
Mine was Keelan Williams.
Oh,
Dude, I was a
he
freshman.
was so good in
I
high
was a
school.
freshman.
At Northside?
He was at Northside, and I was
Yeah.
a freshman at St. Thomas Farm. We had beat him, and then we're playing them in the postseason. Like as a freshman, you don't really play.
Oh, Keelan wasn't warmed up yet, dude.
No, he dominated. But then you play, and we play him in the semifinals to go to the Dome at St. Thomas More. And I was a freshman. Like I was just on the sidelines. Like freshmen aren't allowed to play. You just dress out, and you're on the scout team, and you just get kind of beat up. And
Maybe a
our
hand job.
safety was one of the best safeties in the state at the time. He was a sophomore.
Wow.
He was good. He had like 11 interceptions his sophomore season. Big dude.
Who was it?
Grant Fleming. He was he ended
Shout
up
out Grant.
He ended up going to UL, but like I think he had offers from like Notre Dame and stuff like that. He
Wow.
stayed home, but he was coming straight line downhill, and Keelan Williams was going straight line downhill, and they hit each other, and they both went this way, and they both fell back. And I'm like, damn, nobody won that. Like that was like
Yeah.
Good on
straight
good.
ball. He ended up running for like 260 yards and 4 touchdowns. It was rainy. It was cold. I was like, this guy is unbelievable.
Good discussion.
Great.
A little retro high school football. A lot of people interacting inside of the bunker
Yeah,
too.
tell us the best
Ruben
player.
Randall was really good too.
Ruben Randall was great.
I saw Ruben Randall play high school
That
baseball.
Bastrop High School.
Yeah, 3 straight down the gut, and he's like, never mind. He should play football.
Yeah.
That Bastrop football
I had to
team
play against him.
was loaded.
My sophomore year, I had to
They
play
were
against him.
loaded.
Randall Mackey, dude. We
Yes.
got the ball. No, actually, we played them. This is the course. They got the ball. 2 plays, touchdown. They go for 2, don't get it. We get the ball. First play, a nice little easy bubble screen. Our receiver gets blown up by their cornerback. Interception. Next play, touchdown. Within 45 seconds, we're down 12-0. I'm like, oh boy, we're gonna get blown out. And we ended up coming all the way back and missing a 35-yard field goal to win, and they beat us. But,
Chad Mahaffey, who's the great head coach now at University, won all those state championships, and Coach Brian Thomas over at Walker and still calling plays, and the head coach over there was the offensive coordinator on those teams. I mean, he
Randall
was
Mackey. I don't think people realize how good Randall Mackey actually was.
He was a stud. And Ruben Randall in high school was great. I see a lot of people talking about Jeremy Hill and Lyle Collins. That team, we called me, Moscona, and Panamsky called
Oh, get them together again.
Patterson Redemptorist on Thanksgiving night at the Rock at Magella Stadium, the old school. And Jeremy Hill, Lyle Collins, Kenny Hilliard, and they had a linebacker that went to LSU. Patterson did. He was kind of a skinny linebacker. He played a little bit, covered kicks. I forget his name. He was on the field that night. And that was a great high school game that came down to the end, and Patterson actually won the game, upset Redemptorist Jeremy Hill and Lyle Collins, but Hill was.
No more Redemptorists. That's kind of crazy.
one of the great places to watch a high school game. All right, a little bit more to get to here. Crushing video yesterday. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you. We'll talk a little bit about it. Sorry.
We got a little derailed.
Daily, we're brought to you by Johnson Spillers. Johnson Spillers is our official dentist. It is the appointment this morning.
Today's the day.
Today
Oh,
is the day.
is it? What time is it?
And in fact, we were within the 2 hours of the appointment.
No
so
eating?
It is. You can't cancel it. I'm
You're in.
I'm in that period.
You're
I'm
in
locked
it.
in.
You're in it.
I'm locked in. 9:45
Whoa.
at Johnson. An hour and a half on the books
That's how long it takes.
in the dentist chair.
And then what's the recovery afterwards?
We're not sure.
Like for the day.
I don't know.
Like, are you out of
depends on how much
commission?
gas I take.
You're gonna be feeling nice.
Yeah, I'll be feeling
This
good.
is what had to happen for you, though.
This
You had to
is- yeah.
get stuck like this to be
Right.
able to commit to it by being stuck in the commitment.
And that's why,
issues.
yeah, it's exactly right.
Because you would
Exactly
bail right
right
now if you could, right? If you
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even kind of want to more that they told me that I can't.
have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're great. They're great. Johnson
No, it's not
Spillers.
them. It's just
not
what's
them.
going
It's
to
just
happen.
the procedure, man.
Like, do you think it'll be good tomorrow?
I don't know, man.
He's gonna be.
I don't know.
He's gonna be slurring. He can't talk.
Yeah, I don't
Talking
know.
through a straw.
His mouth's gonna be sideways.
I don't
Travis
know,
Minor.
man. Gonzales, Baton Rouge. Out in Gonzales on Prepara Avenue on Perkins Road here. General dentistry.
Oh.
Anything you need. Pediatric
What a
dentistry.
shitty day for
It's going to be
you.
a bad one. JohnsonSpillers.com. JohnsonSpillers.com. Crushing video yesterday of Tommy Moffitt leaving the LSU football program and leaving the LSU football facility. That was hard to watch.
Why are we filming that?
I didn't play for
Did they-
Moffitt. I don't know. I don't know why, but from a media standpoint, you have to film
I
it.
get it, but like, man,
Yeah.
like
I understand.
brown
and look
boxed him.
They brown boxed him.
Yeah.
They
From
backed him. It was in the rain. It
Dude,
was
you
just.
just
It was just a bad.
let the guy. This is like a bad moment in this guy. No, it's tough, and he's been there forever. Like, I understand the responsibility, but like, let the guy do this, talk to his players, and then go and like.
Let your dog die.
I don't even think it was his players. I actually think it was like his assistant
staff.
strength staff,
Right.
who is in fact, the cameras did catch it, and it was Matt Trent from WBRZ. Who look, I understand, but from Trent's standpoint, he's got to be
get it.
rolling.
Look, I
He's
understand
gotta
both
be
sides,
rolling
but I
there.
just
Sure,
it's hard, man. It's hard.
But
But
you heard his lasting message was, remember what I told you guys, and God bless you. I mean, I got legitimately choked up when I saw that because, everybody knows this, but I mean, I never played a down at LSU football. I had nothing to do with the program, had no invested interest, but just was closer to the program, and got to know that guy and saw the impact that he had on the countless amounts of players that ran through that program. There's a great video that Michael Cobble tweeted out. If we can, let's retweet it from our account this morning. But Cobble tweets out, and I thought he had a great caption with it too, saying that no need for words, I'll just show pictures and video. And it is a shot of Moffitt coming down Victory Hill where like some former players are down there waiting on him, and they're all like hooping and hollering over the top of him and kind of like shoving him and showing just how much they love the dude, man.
Yep.
And I mean, like, there's guys that have been outside of the program, it looks like, for 10 plus years. And Rohan was here yesterday, and he was kind of talking a little bit about it and remembering some of the days of Tommy Moffitt. And Moffitt goes back to when Rohan showed up. That's how long he's been here, man. I mean, 21 years in any profession is an enormous success. 21 years at the same football program at the college level is an eternity. And Moffitt has accomplished that. And look, I don't know if he left on good terms, if he wanted to go, if it was time, if he felt like it was or not. But one thing that I think will always live on with LSU fans, and especially the players, just open up your social media and look at the current roster and the reaction that they're having. Guys like Neil Farrell and Mason Smith and B.J. Ojolari and guys that have been on this roster for a while and just showing the absolute love that they have for this guy. But the former players, the people that have come out and like some of the messages of, just it being so surreal to watch that stuff happening. Him walk out of that building, pack his bags, put the boxes in the back of the car, walk to his car and talk to his wife and say, I got to go across the street and sign the paperwork. I mean, all of that stuff was very difficult to digest and see. And I know that all things and all good things and all everything out there with what we watch in sports comes to an end. I mean, that's a part of being a sports fan. You see the beginning, you see the good, you see the bad, you see the ugly, you see the end. And we've seen all of that with Tommy Moffitt. National championships, down seasons, great relationships, great memories. But yesterday was hard to see from an LSU point of view of that figure, that personality, that character, that guy walking out of the LSU football facility for seemingly what looked like the last time. And the last time a part of the program. And it's just wild to see that come to a conclusion like that.
It's gonna be weird walking into the indoor, like to the facility, and walking by his office, and not him either coaching up someone. Didn't matter if he was talking to one of his interns. Didn't matter if he was talking to a player. Didn't matter if he was just doing stuff around the office. If we walked in to go work out, he would look at us and he'd make sure to acknowledge us. He'd give us like the peace sign. He'd give us the, hey, what's up? You know, Mikey, good to see you. And then go back. But like always acknowledge people. It's going to be weird walking by and not seeing Moffitt in his office.
I think the bigger conversation is going to be, this is the Brian Kelly era, right?
Yeah.
Like, because who in their right mind, like if you're an LSU guy like Ed Orgeron, not touching Tommy Moffitt. Like, you know, there was the old guard that was established at LSU, and when you bring in somebody that like quote unquote outsider like you have with Brian Kelly, he doesn't know that. He doesn't understand any of like how emotional this moment was for all of LSU. Like Tommy Moffitt is ingrained in LSU football from the jump. Like you could go back 20 years, 30 years, and he's a part of LSU football, and this is his job to rip the Band-Aid off and start LSU football basically anew.
You can really highlight the time period that Tommy Moffitt was in the LSU program as the most golden of the golden ages of LSU football.
He's the OG.
He is the one that saw every single day, every single play, every single moment from the time that Nick Saban showed up to the time that Ed Orgeron left. And think about the moments that have been captured inside of that timeline for LSU football. From 2000 to 2021. From bowl wins in Atlanta over Georgia Tech, where you rallied with Rohan and Josh Reed, to national championships and perfect seasons with Joe Burrow and everything in between there. Tommy Moffitt has been a part of the LSU program for every single day of that. How incredible, right? I mean, like, if you're sitting there thinking that you've been a fan for that long of LSU football and LSU athletics, think of all the memories that you have captured and brought in during that time period. Tommy Moffitt was in one position, in one spot, that entire sequence.
I mean, he changed strength and conditioning for college football.
Yeah, he did.
You know?
I mean, they would have had to drag him out of there, right? Like, he doesn't want to leave.
Let us reset here. We will come back here. 8 o'clock.
What was that?
The carpool queen is here. Jordan Peck is here. Is he Big Bird cranes his neck into the door there? Good to see you, buddy. We will reset second hour coming at you. A lot to get to. LSU basketball cracks the top 25. They're the best defensive team in the country, and they're the number 25 team ranked in the country. We will talk all about it coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We are driven and powered every single day by A-Bears Specialty Meats. Remember, it is holiday season, and A-Bears can take care of your holiday needs if you stop in and see them. They're on Highway 73 over in Geismar. They're also here in Baton Rouge in Robert's Grocery Store, which you can find all the great selections. They've got holiday specials for you right there online at A-Bears Specialty Meats, abearsmarkets.com. Highway 73 in Geismar and over here in Baton Rouge in the Kenilworth Shopping Center, a part of Robert's Grocery Store, the A-Bears Specialty Meats. Jordy Culotta Show rolling on, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
I mean, to throw that at you.
Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU bluewater.com. Hebert's Specialty Meats, home to the finest boudin in South Louisiana. 2 spots right here in Baton Rouge and out in Prairieville. Stop in and see them in the Dutchtown Shopping Center on Highway 73, or right here in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. Online, abearsmarkets.com, and they're all over social media. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Instagram. Hebert's combines perfect seasoning with that authentic Cajun flavor. Find out for yourself. Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway and in Prairieville on Highway 73. abearsmarkets.com. Whatever.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you already on the gas?
No, I'm not.
I mean, there's nothing to look forward
Oh,
to.
you're just nervous.
Yeah, I'm on that gas.
This is like nervous.
Yeah.
Are you already on the gas?
Relief man.
The relief man gas?
You're nervous about it.
Yeah, I'm nervous,
That's
man.
what's
I
going
hate
on.
the.
No, you already did the worst part. You already did the
So
worst
they
part.
say.
Yeah, that might be a lie.
I
think they
mean,
know.
an hour and a half in the dentist chair is an hour and a half in the dentist chair, dude. What do you really need to do in there for an hour and a
Where
half?
could you?
And it's all the
takes
noises.
Are you be
Yeah.
sleeping though?
And then when the drill hits, you know, it's
Yeah.
kind of like when you hit that rough patch when you're mowing the grass. It's like, "Brrr." It's like,
You gotta
It is
bull
like
through
that.
that little
It's
spot.
kinda
You
like
get a little,
bull through it,
I don't
you
know what the fuck
I
that
mean?
was, but we're gonna keep on going.
Push through. Push
It is
through.
like
Could have been a
I
pet,
ain't gonna break this thing.
and that's
It'll
your
be
mouth.
Fine. It'll be over before you
Yeah,
know
we're
it.
good. We're
You just lay
Well, then they
back.
try to have a conversation with you. Did
Oh,
I-
that's the worst.
Yeah,
It is
like-
the worst.
But he's not like that.
No, no,
Well,
no.
Which I
you have
respect.
to know
But he
unless you're a
does
psycho.
have. You know what they do have is
Right?
the.
I can't talk.
They do have the
No
the
talking,
talk
please.
with the hygienist. You know, like
Yes.
they
The what?
talk to one another.
Yes.
The
and
what?
you want to get
Like
in
the
on it
hygienist?
with the hygienist.
Hygienist.
The
Hygienist.
dental hygienist.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you want to be part of
Hygienist.
it.
Use it in
And
a
you're
sentence.
nervous.
Does he
You're
have a
nervous.
TV above you that you can see like?
He
straight
does have a
up?
TV
Okay, that's
above,
You gotta
but
have
I'm
that.
muted. I try to eavesdrop.
Oh,
On their conversation.
Yeah, just gotta see what's
you're a
going
little
on.
nosy.
Sneaky listener.
But don't you want to
Yeah.
jump in sometimes, especially if they like get something
Yeah.
wrong or they're talking you're like, ah.
It's not gonna be Joe Brady.
It is like that.
Ah!
I have opinion.
Ah!
It's not gonna be Joe Brady.
Give him a little more gas.
Carpool Queen, good morning. How are you?
Hey, I'm well, y'all.
Wow, the all pinks today.
All pinks.
Pink.
Any special reason?
No, I just really like pink.
All right.
If I had a favorite color, it probably
Oh,
would be
remember,
pink.
Here we
remember,
go.
remember.
No favorites.
No
I
favorites.
do like pink.
Oof.
Except for the
Favorite.
kids.
So she just said if I had. She said if I had a favorite color, it would be pink. So that
I
makes me
said
think,
probably.
That makes me think she has a favorite color. And
It's
pink.
probably pink.
Yeah. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by GoFlow. GoFlow IV. You can find them online at goflowiv.com. GEAUX. flowiv.com, as you can find them over on Jefferson Highway. They offer annual memberships for you, 3-month, 6-month annual. Baton Rouge's premier medical spa specializing in IV hydration treatments with vitamin infusion. Check them out online at goflowiv.com. All right.
For the ladies, did y'all know they do facials in there? You can
Hey,
book a
hey,
facial while you're,
look at
some
that.
Hey,
skincare
look at
while
that.
you're
I
in
do
there
those for free.
getting injected. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Jesus.
What'd
It's
you
8
say?
o'clock.
Oh God,
Jesus
Lloyd, I
Lord.
missed that.
Can't take him anywhere.
That's why I stay here.
Oh, you can't have
They
nice things.
do. There's an esthetician in there that can help you out with that.
Glenn Dorsey's going into the College Football Hall of Fame. That is probably long overdue.
Yes.
On Glenn
72
Dorsey.
should not be worn in Baton Rouge anymore, I don't think.
I think that he should probably be one of the next numbers. He will
Yeah.
be the
anybody
10th player
worn?
added to the College Football Hall of Fame.
I don't know, but it should make it
Yeah, I think
official.
Garrett Dellinger is 72, isn't he?
Oh God, yeah. Get
I
that
mean,
thing. Get
He's
that
the
thing
most
back.
decorated defensive player in LSU history.
Yes.
Like, guy's a baller.
Yeah.
There is some sentiment around that the injury really wasn't as bad. He was better the next year after the Auburn thing. Do you agree? I feel like he was as dominant as you could have been before he got hurt versus Auburn, but the
He was.
stats bear out
Absolutely.
that he was still as good, because that seems to be the sentiment around Glenn Dorsey, why he wasn't as good as he should have been in the professional ranks, right? Because
How
he
long
was
did he play
drafted
in the
top
NFL?
5. I don't know, but he was drafted by the Chiefs. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just didn't. He didn't have the career you thought he would. But then
Well,
you point
know,
back to
he
the
went to the wrong scheme. Like he was a 4-3 guy,
right.
Like he was kind of like an athletic guy over the nose.
maybe ahead of his time a little.
A little bit. And then when he got to the league, he played in that 3-4. I mean, if you remember,
Tyson Jackson.
2 years later they drafted Tyson Jackson with the second pick. You know, who was just
Bro,
this.
how good was our defensive line?
was unbelievable,
Mid
bro.
2000s.
It was unbelievable.
Wait, what do you mean he went to the wrong scheme? I don't know what you mean by that.
Because there's a 4-3 defense and then there's a 3-4 defense, and you need a certain style of defensive lineman to play each.
Apuaika.
A 3-4, you want a guy that's like more of like a stopper.
Yeah, you want
Like
like a
big old boy.
Yeah.
Tyler Shelvin.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
You know what I
Right.
mean? You want Tyler Shelvin was
Apuaika.
here a couple of years ago. Apuaika was here.
I
But
thought
just
you were
that,
just making that up. That's
that-
a real
I know
name.
something.
No, he's
that
good. He's
very-
that,
like Mississippi State's had a lot of 3-4
Yeah.
big defensive linemen, or they probably would have a 4. Like Jeffrey Simmons is probably like a 4-3 guy,
That guy's a stud.
more athletic. And Glenn Dorsey was like a 4-3, more athletic. You could get him one-on-one, and he was just quicker, stronger, and faster than you. Glenn Dorsey, if we're going back to best high school players we've seen, he was
Where's he
dominant. East Ascension.
That's where he played in high school.
Yes. And I mean, like, was chasing running backs down,
And
like,
catching
by
them.
their back, like straight line behind them, running behind them and grabbing
That's
them, like, with
awesome.
30-yard head starts. Freaky. Like, oh, my God, look at this big guy running.
Somebody
You
chop
know
block
what I
this
mean?
guy.
Good Lord. But he was more of like a just he was just so quick, strong, athletic, and he had the best celebration
I agree.
ever
Why?
as
What
a
was
defensive
it?
lineman. He just did like
He
the,
just freaked
did,
out.
No, he just did this walk, and he was like, and everybody would go
Loved it.
nuts, dude. And he remember like before the snap, before he would get down in his 3-point stance, he would be
yes.
standing up.
Well, dude, and then the longest yard did it, and I was like, "That's the Glenn Dorsey."
It was. It reminded me of Glenn Dorsey, and he would stand up and like bring you into the game, bring you into the play, like with like 3 seconds left on the play clock, and he would
He
get
knew.
set, boom, cut, and just destroy people. Destroy people.
Well, him and Baton Rouge, whenever that hand came up and you were in the crowd and you're like, oh my God, they're like, if you're on the other side of it, like, dude, he's got the snap timed out and he knows exactly what he's about to do and you can't stop it because he's playing, he's doing a promo. He's
Yeah.
doing a WWE,
He
like,
was,
give
absolutely.
me some more noise. And that's when Tiger Stadium was at its absolute best. And it might be because just, dude, you saw that hand come up and it's like, oh, it's full tilt right now.
The injury against Auburn still to this day pisses me off.
Maybe
Yeah.
the dirtiest play.
It could be the
play
dirtiest
I've ever
play
seen.
I've ever seen.
Wait, what happened?
On the snap of the ball, was it the right guard or the center? It was
Right guard.
Pugh.
I
The guy's
think
name
he
was
got high
Pugh.
load.
Yeah, it was the right guard that took him out, but the center stood him up, and the right guard put his helmet right into
Into
his
his
knee.
knee.
And,
On purpose.
Oh, it was definitely on purpose, because if you go back 2 plays before that,
He was wrecking the
he
game.
picks up. I'm telling you, it's the best defensive lineman highlight I've ever seen. He picks up the right guard off of his feet. I mean, this is 300 pounds running downhill at you full speed. He puts his hands on him, locks his hands out, picks him up off the ground, and
Shoves
throws
him.
him to the side. Like, I'm telling you, like, the guy is like flying back, like 300 pounds flying back, and puts his nose, boom, into the running back and just stones the running back. It is one of the finest defensive plays. And I don't know if that was it, like, that got the guys, like, in the huddle, like, we gotta
stop.
We gotta knock this guy out. Like, we gotta take this guy out. But it is the dirtiest college football play I've ever seen. And to Glenn Dorsey's credit,
Ooh, are you looking it up? Are we going to see it?
it did not knock him out of the season.
Really?
No,
He came back and played.
Yeah.
Like, in the next game?
No.
I want to say that he.
Was it the
I
next
want to
game?
say
He came
that
back against
I think
Auburn.
he came back that night.
I agree
In
too.
the same game?
I think he came back that night, but it is one of the. He
Felt different, man.
he definitely played the next week. Like, he
played
didn't
all
miss.
year.
He didn't miss extended time.
Wow.
But it's the dirtiest play I've ever seen. I
Ooh,
mean,
there it is.
boom! Look at him curled up, stand him up, boom! Go right at his knee.
Did they throw a flag?
I don't know if they did or not.
I mean, but that it kind of feels a little bit like the Glenn Dorsey rule. Whenever you hear a chop block called, like, that's the first thing I think of is like, oh, that's the reason for the rule. Because when you stand him up like that and go low, I mean, that's just, you're doing one thing and it's to try to hurt somebody.
Well,
But
yeah.
shout out putt.
Anybody panicking on Brian Kelly not having his staff together, and you
A
look
little
up
bit,
and
yeah.
Billy
I am.
Napier is in Baton Rouge, or Billy Napier is in Louisiana, Nick Saban is in Shreveport on Monday. I am trusting the process. I am trusting Brian Kelly here.
Wait, what do they have to do with it? Napier and Saban being in Louisiana.
So you
Sit there
just
making
shows you the
moves.
head.
Still
I mean, they've got a
recruits.
huge head start on you.
Why is he in Shreveport? What's
Kendrick
he doing
Law.
in Shreveport? Okay.
Maybe the second best player in the state.
Harold Perkins.
Harold
That's
Perkins.
the first person
But I
that
know
Brian Kelly has
did,
gone to
yes.
visit. So he's on the trail.
He's on the trail.
We're working.
I
Right.
definitely
Working.
think that he is working,
Housekeeping.
and I trust
Right.
that there is work being done. But I also trust that there are questions being asked that
Don't have
he
answers
probably has answers to, but there's nothing concrete out there that says this is my guy, this is my offensive. There's nobody in place.
That's
you know?
what begs the question. Did he absolutely think whenever they had the conversation, Scott Woodward and Brian Kelly was like, all right, I can get Freeman and I can get Reese. And because then that's when you go back to the Ed Orgeron part of like, I can bring my guys with me. Because now you're scrambling just a little bit, not like, it says at go mode right now, but I'm saying like now you're in a sit and wait, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't get the two guys you would have had automatic hires. And those are the two people he would like to have brought back. So now you have to almost reset the calendar a little bit to be able to say, okay, if it wasn't those two, who do we go get?
I think he probably knew he wasn't gonna get Freeman.
That
I think he thought maybe he was
Well,
going to get Reese, but I think he knew that Freeman, in the position that he was going to be in, probably either was going to be the head coach or was going to have an opportunity to become the head coach in the years to come. And I don't think that.
He said he was coming to LSU if not Notre Dame offered the head coaching job.
Well, that's what I mean. I think Brian Kelly knew that like he probably was going to get that job.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is me. I'm speculating. I have no
Where do you
clue.
go? What's name? What should we know? What names that they should be looking at? Like what
Does
philosophy
this,
wants to
the
go
longer
for?
it goes, does this like give Durante Jones a better chance?
I don't know what it says the longer it goes. I really don't know how to read it because I got to imagine
He's talked to
that
Dan
Brian
Olko.
Kelly knows that there's a sense of urgency.
Has to.
Well, I think he was hired under a
Yes.
sense of urgency. I
Yeah.
think that Scott Woodward, when he sat down with him, said, we got to hit the ground running. As soon as you're hired, you got to get in front of recruits and you got to sew up this class of 2022. And however you do that, you got to get that done, right? And I just got to imagine that there are players, parents, and coaches that are asking questions on what the future. Walker Howard told it to us last week. Walker Howard sounded as enthusiastic, as excited, as energetic, as fired up as anybody about the hire. But he also, at the end of it, when we said, "Are you all LSU? You're all good." Yeah, I'm in. I do want to see who they hire as the offensive coordinator. I mean, that's the ace of the class, right? I mean, that's one of the top player on the board telling you that. Yeah, I'm in. But I still do have a little bit of a question of, like, what's it going to look like? Who's it going to be?
Right.
And if he's asking questions, you know that others are out there saying correctly every day. They'll see Brian Kelly every day, but they won't have a conversation with Brian Kelly every day. If they're a defensive lineman, if it's Quincy Wiggins, he's going to talk to Andre Carter or whoever the defensive line coach is every single day. If Shazz Preston comes to LSU, he's going to talk to the wide receivers coach and probably the offensive coordinator every single day. I mean, they want to know who am I going to be talking to? Who is going to be?
Is there a deadline that he has to have all this
You'd
done?
like to have
You would
before
think.
next week.
Yeah, but I
Before
mean,
next week.
I would
Well,
think
this week, like this, you want to have before the early signing period.
Okay.
you know, I mean, I think that
So we'll know soon.
the early signing
Hopefully.
period starts on December 15th next week. I mean, seeing Nick Saban at Captain Shreve yesterday in Shreveport talking to Kendrick Law made me think that was kind of like, oh, God. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he's winning SEC championships and he's in your backyard.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you this is what the hire was to prevent. Now, I know you're not going to, you know, blockade Saban and the Alabama plane from touching down, but I mean, you want to be on the road with all of your bullets too.
Yeah.
You know
Do
what I
you
mean?
think-
You want to be fighting the fight as fair and even as possible, and right now it feels like LSU is still playing a lot of catch up.
Do you think with, you know, we obviously, our offensive line this year was not good. They're all leaving. Our whole starting offensive line is basically gone. Do you think that we leave, like, you know, more scholarship spots open than we normally do for the transfer portal? Like, you sign, what, 25 a year, right? You think we sign 20 and say, hey, we have 5 guys that we're going to go and target in the transfer
Yes,
portal?
absolutely. And as this transfer portal continues to grow with offensive
Yeah.
linemen and guys that you need, like
Right.
like positions of need for you, you're steadily doing that. But the top end players for Louisiana in this class, in my opinion, is must-gets for the future of Brian Kelly here in the early part of his reign, in the early part of his tenure. You got to hit, just like, and somebody was pointing it out, and they were right. I want to make sure and give credit to the right person, but Tommy Howard says everyone has Saban PTSD. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Duh.
it's true, but you know, I mean, one of the things that you go back and you look when you had a front row seat of how Saban operates and builds his program was when he touched down in 2000. It was late in that recruiting period. He was hired in January. I think he got guys like Corey Webster was the last in that class to jump aboard. It was the last commitment that he got. But that 2001 cycle that he got, like Marcus Spears and Michael Clayton and Marquise Hill and all those guys that were really kind of the backbone of the national championship run in 2003, you cannot miss on those high-end players. The only thing about Kelly and where he comes in that's kind of comparable to Saban is that he comes in late in the recruiting period. He's hired in December, and the early signing period is, you know, a week away. But the high-end players are still on the board. Jacoby Matthews, Shazz Preston, Quincy Wiggins, guys that are uncommitted, that are in the state of Louisiana, that you can get in this class and really secure the football, but really kind of secure Brian Kelly more than anybody. That you get players and give yourself a chance to kind of get through the first days of, you know, the first years of being on the job and kind of understanding where I'm at. You know, I mean, while you're doing that, it's a lot easier to do that with a 6'5" defensive end and a wide receiver who's got just as much swag as Jamar Chase coming out of high school and just as much production. So, I mean, this class, while I understand that LSU's playing behind the 8 ball and they're making hires and they're churning over staff, to me, it's so important for Brian Kelly and what he's trying to accomplish early on in setting the tone in the program and just kind of who LSU's going to be under his direction. First and foremost, you got to be on the road, sewing these guys up, getting these guys into the class, into the program, and kind of get out and then, you know, I mean, let this thing grow and blossom. You can't do that with guys, second, third on the chart behind Quincy Wiggins, the second, third safety on the chart behind Jacoby Matthews. You got to go get these high-end players that are right here in Louisiana.
Because as much as you talk about like the alignment being perfect for Brian Kelly and LSU at this time, it could be the exact opposite in terms of recruiting. Like if Coach O is able to hold on one more year, you're not worried about the recruiting class, right? You know that this is a top probably 2 or 3 recruiting class in the country, if not 1. But because that you have to move Coach O out, and you see some of those maybe committal, non-committals kind of fizzle and start looking other places, it's because O was leaving, right? Like this would have been his stalwart class of LSU, and why you kind of gave Coach O the job in the first place was to be able to recruit Louisiana, and this is the biggest Louisiana recruiting class he would have been able to bring in. But now you have to pivot from that and go to Brian Kelly, and now you just hope he can bring in a couple of the guys, right?
So there's a lot of guys that are still not committed or haven't made their decision. Obviously, like Quincy Wiggins and Shazz and all these guys. But I guess what helps Brian Kelly, and this is me looking at put my purple and gold glasses on and just kind of being optimistic. But I think what helps him is a lot of the high profile. And we've talked about this before on the show. A lot of the high profile recruits are LSU legacies. Diehard LSU fans, and yeah, they do want to be able to see where things are going to go, but these guys are like basically saying, look, this is where I want to be. I've grown up wanting to go there. I'm going to be there, and they're like high level players. Now, granted, there's 4 or 5 guys that you have to get that aren't those guys that aren't committed yet, but I think what helps Brian Kelly's transition is he has a really good recruiting class in Louisiana, and a lot of those guys are diehard LSU guys, and if he goes in there and gives just a good message, not even a great message to these guys, and gives them a little bit of confidence, I think that these guys are pretty solid. Now, like I said, there's 4 or 5 guys that he has to go out there and get, and those are the ones we're worried about. But I think that kind of helps him a little bit.
As Shaz said, just a little bit over an hour ago,
give him a chance.
He hasn't talked directly to Brian Kelly yet, and Kelly was kind of, pitching the message of he wanted to take care and sit down with the committed players first, and that makes sense. But Shazz Preston and these guys have to be a top priority of what's next as far as those conversations go. And, for him to be on the job a little less than a week, what was he introduced on Thursday? Is that when he was?
Yeah, the basketball game, right?
Tuesday.
Tuesday? So a week today. Now's the time to start being in front.
And we don't know exactly what he's been doing.
And I'm not criticizing.
Yeah, right.
I really am not, and I'm still trusting the process, and I'm riding with Brian Kelly, and I'm all in. I just wonder, is your level of concern trending more of calm or panic when you look up a week after the hire and there's still significant staff openings? I mean, there's
not only significant staff openings, but when you look at who are you recruiting against, right? And look what Nick Saban's putting on the board. Look what Alabama's doing. They just won an SEC championship, and they are the #1 team in the playoff again. And who is in Shazz Preston's top 4? Alabama, a staff that is already in place. You know exactly what you're getting. While LSU is kind of blowing in the wind a little bit right now, and it's not the best case scenario to get the top end guys, because when you look at what LSU football does, who do they recruit against? The best. And look at what the best is putting on tape right now, as opposed to LSU having no offensive coordinator, no defensive coordinator, and a coach that just got hired. If you're Shazz Preston, if you're one of these 5-star guys, why is it not easier to go, well, I could just go to Alabama, and this is very easy, as opposed to waiting it out and seeing who comes to LSU.
For sure.
Because you just got rid of Mickey Joseph. You don't know who's going to be. That makes you have to wonder, right? Does Brian Kelly have people that he wants to bring in place? Because you don't get rid of a Mickey Joseph and Tommy Moffitt if you don't have a hire already, I would assume.
I would say yes, he knows that, right? He does have people he wants.
Some of these recruits may already know. They just may not. I don't know.
I think he knows what he's doing. I think he's got it all figured out, and we're worrying for nothing.
And it may be PTSD from not only Saban, but from former coaches, where we've seen this song and dance where it seems a little unorchestrated, but maybe, Brian Kelly is one of the winningest head coaches in college football history.
He's a super intelligent
Maybe we should trust the guy.
Yeah.
I think we should.
Look, I'm not saying that I'm bailing, and I'm not saying that I distrust him. I just think
there's just anxiety around it.
Well, I think that there has to be a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
I think that the urgency, which I believe he understands, right? Like, I don't think that is shocking news to him. He knows that there is a timeline and a crunch here that you got to really work in front of, and you're kind of playing behind the clock right now. Cajun Ready Mix brings you the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, they provide ready mix concrete products and services to meet all of your concrete needs. You can find them online at CajunRMC.com. 372-5060. That's 225 area code 372-5060. They have experienced professionals to assist you with commercial, industrial, or residential concrete needs. Online at CajunRMC.com. High-quality products, grade A equipment, and clear safety standards. That's what you get when you team up with our friends over at Cajun Ready Mix, providing top-of-the-line concrete and red carpet service. Cajun Ready Mix, CajunRMC.com. LSU basketball on an extended break here as they will be back in action this Saturday in Atlanta, December 11th.
Nice.
Versus Georgia Tech. As they are off for finals right now. And the news came out yesterday that LSU is finally ranked. They're in the top 25 of the AP poll. They were also ranked number 2 in the net rankings earlier yesterday.
They tried so hard to keep us out of there. It's tried
unbelievable.
so hard. They say, we're going to put you at 25. They tried.
And right now, Joe Lenardi has them as a 2 seed.
We're the 25 ranked team in the country. We're a 2 seed.
Is ranked number 25 in the country. But you know what? I was kind of pissed off to see them ranked. At this point,
really?
Keep them out.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like,
how long can you run the gambit?
Public enemy number 1, man. I mean,
they still are.
We still are. Welcome to the Terror Dome.
We still
you know what
are.
I mean? Like, turn this thing up if you want to.
But
Absolutely.
it was time to be ranked.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's past time to be ranked.
25 was a pat on the head, though.
It is. It is
I don't want it.
That's what I'm saying.
That's actually almost more insulting than not ranking.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm with you now.
Keep me out of it.
Keep your 25.
Y'all are talking to somebody who, like, if I was if Mississippi State was ranked number 25, I'd be like,
well, look,
yes.
Where LSU basketball was coming from before Will Wade, a 25 ranking. I mean, you would have crawled on the floor for it. Speaking of, Johnny Jones, former coach, goes into Florida last night and upsets the University of Florida, beats the Gators.
Where's he at now?
Texas Southern.
Okay.
And the Tigers, Texas Southern, 1-7 now on the season. That was their first win of the season.
Big win
for Texas Southern.
Terrible loss for Florida.
Somebody got taken to the bookie.
Oh my God!
How about
the money line on that one?
It was just not worth it.
Dump the book.
I bet you they even have that on there. They probably even have that on the book.
Somebody will take it.
How about
you?
Yeah. So I know LSU's 25.
Go Tigers.
Everybody's worried about rankings. They're 25. Alabama just beat Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, dude, I don't give. You could be ranked 45 and we should be ranked 2, but we're gonna get to SEC play and the conference is so strong now that I don't give a shit.
No, you're scrambling eggs once you get to the SEC.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, man, the SEC is going to get 7 teams in.
Yeah, no doubt.
This season. I mean, look around. This has become silently, kind of quietly.
We've watched it happen.
Yes, absolutely. Has bloomed. The flower has bloomed in front of your face, and now it is bud into what is the best basketball conference in the country.
I mean, they're going to argue that.
They're going to get 7 teams into the tournament right now. Now, they got to go through conference play, and they're going to – it's almost going to be like football. They're going to kick the shit out of out of themselves. They're going to beat up everybody in their own conference. But once they do that, I mean –
it's like the ACC.
They got the best coaches. It looks like they got the best players. They've got facilities that are all around the – I mean, it's all – they got the money. You know what I mean? Like, it's – the SEC has kind of become in front of your face if you've not been paying attention and you look up. I mean, it's the best basketball conference in the country right now.
And you all have Bruce Pearl to thank, right?
Yeah.
Because he's the one man that stood in the face of the NCAA and said, look, we can do this in the SEC and why not? And it's because, oh, wait, this is how the SEC does it in football. Why don't we do it in basketball?
Yeah.
Like SEC's, like they've done it all along in football. Now they're just catching up with everybody else that did it in basketball the same way.
And football's giving them the resources to do it.
Absolutely. So it shit rolls downhill.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Which is why you invest money into the football program. Because of all this.
Right.
So LSU they cracked the top 25. They're the 7th SEC team ranked in the top 25 right now.
Where are the other ones?
Let's see.
Alabama's got to be top 10, right?
Yeah, Alabama is 9.
Yeah.
Kentucky is 10. Arkansas is 12. Tennessee is 13. Auburn is 18. Florida is 20. They'll fall out after last night. LSU is 25. Let me make sure. I believe that's everybody. Yeah, that's it. That's 7, right? Alabama number 9, Kentucky number 10, Arkansas number 12, Tennessee number 13, Auburn 18, LSU 25.
So we'll have 2 top 20 matchups in the first week of the season, right? Don't we play Tennessee and Kentucky?
They play Kentucky and Tennessee.
Yep.
In the first week of the season.
Possibly. We beat Georgia Tech on Saturday. I mean, that's possibly 2 top 15 matchups.
Not only that, they've got 3 of the top defenders in the country.
Yeah.
When you just look at like isolated defensive stats right now, and I think that's the craziest thing about LSU basketball right now and up to this point is that you almost have to. It was like watching LSU football a couple of years back when they had an offense. You know what I mean? You were thinking like, what am I looking at? You know what I mean? Like, look how efficient LSU was on offense a couple of years ago. Now when you're watching the basketball team, you kind of have to like squint your eyes and kind of rub your eyes, and you're like, this is incredible how efficient they are on the defensive end. I mean, they're so good defensively that they are going to win games because of their defense. In fact, they've already done it twice. They beat Penn State, and they beat at home a couple of games back when they were struggling mightily off Ohio. And they couldn't throw it. They couldn't throw it in. And they won the game. So that is the craziest stat to see, and the most it has to be the most refreshing and the one that gives you the most confidence moving forward, because like football, defense travels in basketball.
Yep.
If you're not making shots, and a lot of times you'll go on the road like LSU did in the Emerald Coast Classic, where the gym was smaller, the sight lines are different, the range behind the goal looks more, the depth perception looks longer or shorter or wider. It's not the Maravich Center. So you're on the road and you're out of your comfort zone. You're out of your element and you're not making shots. But you defend and you turn your defense into offense, and that stuff travels no matter the gym you play in.
Yep.
Right? I mean, once you get to the open floor, all of the dunks are still on 10-foot goals. And if you can create turnovers into the open floor, to me, that's when LSU's at their best.
Mm-hmm.
LSU looks almost unguardable for an extended amount of time when they extend their defense, kind of three-quarter court, and they put you in trap situations and the ball is kind of floating in the air and they're able to kind of run, jump, and get into lanes and run. When they get like that, to me, they are as just about as tough a matchup as you'll find. And I haven't seen everybody playing college basketball. I've seen Gonzaga, UCLA, Duke, some of the high-end teams. Purdue is really, really good. I mean, I've seen them play. But LSU, when they get out and they're running and running with their athleticism and spreading the floor and running in lanes and turning you over, they're as tough a matchup as you'll find in a sport. It's scary to think what Adam Miller would be like on this team.
No doubt.
I don't know if he – I mean, like, it's easy to say now, but I mean, like, you only got one ball. And Miller, you'd taken 23 points out of the lineup. You'd love his scoring, right? But, I mean, like –
you would love just his
presence.
overall –
his mentality, his presence, yeah.
Defense and guard play is how you win in the tournament,
sure.
right? Like, you want to play – and I think those go hand in hand, right? So if you have good guard – if you have really good defense and good guard play, that leads to transition baskets. That leads to – the offense being run through that, right? Like you're not worried. Like if the offense is stalling in the half court, but you can play defense and you have guys up top that can handle the rock and make good decisions, then it opens up everything else.
Yeah, Adam Miller would have taken a ton of pressure off Gaines, right? Gaines would have been a wild card that you could throw in there and it'd be like, who is this banshee?
Murray, I think that's what. But the fact that Murray plays such lockdown defense, I think that
it needs more shots.
Yeah. Right, he needs to shoot more.
Will Wade said it himself.
He needs to shoot more.
What the real tragedy here is that we've known about this LSU basketball team, and we've looked at the spreads, and we've done nothing about it. We've not gambled nearly enough money on LSU basketball.
Get on it.
They're not playing.
What's the spread on Saturday? Is that line opened up yet?
It's going to be open yet.
Yeah, it's not open yet.
But I mean, obviously Vegas takes some of what they think of LSU not being ranked. Like, they take some of that into consideration, and we've known how good LSU basketball is from the jump. And we should have jumped on some of those spreads, dude. We just missed on some money.
Tari Eason right now is ranked the #1 defensive player in the country in college basketball.
He's averaging almost a double-double.
He is a walking double-double. And
he's a sixth man.
I love how they use him, but
Me
he always,
too.
but he always ends.
No,
he,
yeah, I
always
mean, he
ends the
has the
game on
most minutes. He
floor.
has it's just amount of minutes, but I like how.
But that's how that's how you know you have a good team.
What's your favorite lineup?
The best lineup, in my opinion, that they have is Pinson at the 1, Gaines at the 2, Days at the 3, Eason at the 4, and Efton at the 5.
I agree. I love that.
I think that is as good a lineup with,
I think that's
with
the best,
Murray, your 6th guy.
I think that's the best offensive lineup
Mm-hmm.
because I think that Gaines and Pinson can alternate. I think Pinson's a better 3-point shooter off the pass,
Well,
right? Not off the dribble.
I trust Pinson more with the ball,
No
with
doubt.
the game in hand.
No doubt.
But I want Gaines' athleticism on the
For
floor.
sure.
And
That's
I
where you
definitely
want
want
Adam
him
Miller.
at there from a defensive standpoint. That's
Yeah.
exactly right, where
Right.
you want Miller.
A
For
little
sure.
crunch time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you think that? Because Will Wade mentioned like a little concussion for Pinson. I don't think he scratched the surface of what
No,
he
he's-
really. This is not his final form. Of
When
what you're
I
gonna
think
get from
he's
Jacob
gonna
Pinson.
peak during the SEC, like when SEC starts. I think
he-
that's
you
when
can
you're
tell
gonna
he
really
wants
see
to
how
shoot
good he
it a
is.
little
He's
bit.
so smooth.
Yeah, he
so
is.
smooth.
So, I mean, like silky smooth out
Yeah, he
there.
is.
And I mean, to me, those types of players, they just need to kind of get revved up.
It doesn't look like he's
You know what
trying.
I
which
mean?
is
They
what you
just kind of
want.
need to keep playing, and
Feel the
things
flow.
will start opening up. Shots will start falling. He'll start creating turnovers because he plays with this ease. Absolutely, this just kind of graceful flow to him.
He put that poor
And
guy on skates.
by all accounts, I talked to somebody yesterday, pretty close to the program, that Sharif is trending back. I don't know how much.
Dr. Will Wade.
I don't know how much they count
Dr. Will
on Sharif.
I don't know what this is, Sharif.
You know, I don't know how much confidence they put into Sharif once he gets back. They want to see him play consistently for a month.
Me too.
For a month. They want just the small wins right now,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like if you can stay healthy for a month, and let's put another month together and see if you can't get to the finish line here, because he is he's another board cleaner for you. He's another guy that can get on the boards,
He
and
can stretch
he's
the
a
floor a
really
little
tough
bit.
matchup.
Yeah,
Well,
he
it's
can
all the
stretch it.
things that Will Wade has complained about so far about his team. He's like, look, we're this in the country on offensive rebounding. What did Sharif O'Neal do the best whenever he was
Offensive
here? He
rebounds.
was grabbing rebounds like a monster. So that's
Yeah.
what it's a kind of a piece that if you could fit into the puzzle would really help LSU basketball a lot, because it's one of the things that they. I don't want to say they don't have, but it's another kind of bring in
Yeah.
Tari Eason, and then it's like, oh, here comes Sharif O'Neal. It's like, are
Yeah.
you kidding me? I mean, he's somebody that can do all of the things that you need them to do offensively, like some of the dirty work, and he's
Right.
skilled.
You know what I like? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you.
You know what I like that Will Wade does is like, so we talk about our favorite lineups. I like the fact that he starts Mwani, he starts Murray, right? Murray starts, right?
Yeah.
So he starts Mwani, he starts Murray. Both are legit defenders, right? Elite, probably one of the two of the top defenders on the team. He sets the tone of the game with the starting lineup, right? He's not necessarily putting in the starting lineup that's going to score the most points or the most talented guys, but he's going to put he's starting the guys that are going to set the tone for the rest of the game, which he wants it to be defense. And by having Mwani in there and Brandon Murray in there, I think that's what he does is set the tone. That's why then you put Eason in and it's over.
And Milwaukee will knock down the open.
Oh, no
jumper.
doubt. And he said,
knock it down.
Will Wade said that at the beginning of the year. He's like, I want y'all to see him shoot because he's put a lot of work in his 3-point shot.
And look, I don't want to get into and get carried away here, because I mean the LSU hadn't even started conference play. It's not even mid-December yet on the basketball roster, on the basketball schedule. But I'm telling you, the team is next season. How good they're going to be potentially next year when you think about
the guy coming back.
the guys that are coming back and the people that they think they can get to come back. I mean, like, there's a discussion that's already begun with Efton. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that Efton could get on a run and
Right,
all
for
of
sure.
this discussion get blown up in the middle of March. But
Don't
you get
rush.
him back, you get a guy like Julian Phillips, who's already signed, which everybody in that program tells you that's the best player they've ever signed out of high school. Like, that's what Will Wade's like, that we are treating this guy as a one and done,
Legitimate one
like
and
a
done.
legitimate one and done.
Like lottery pick one.
Nas was kind of like they treated him
Well,
like a one and
Cam.
done, but then in the middle of it, you were like, "Hey, he might come back."
Right,
he
right,
might come back.
right.
Cam was a
Was a
one and-
legitimate one and
He
done.
was a legitimate one and done.
But Cam was just like a pure like one and done because he could. But I think this guy's got a little bit more all around.
he's like a one and done, like legit
Lottery
pro,
pick.
like basketball,
Like top
player.
10 pick.
You know what I mean? Like there's pro scouts that already know
Yeah.
who Julian Phillips is, and
Yeah,
they're
you're not going
to,
23rd to the Nets.
Like
Right.
if you
might
didn't have
be
to,
going.
if you didn't have to go to college for a year, he'd be a high school guy.
And not only that,
good.
a lot like Nas, physically, he's ready today.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like when he steps on campus,
Ball player.
he's starting.
Yeah.
And if he can get you 40 minutes a night, he's going to stay on the floor 40 minutes. But the team next year that brings back Adam Miller, that brings
So you think
back,
he comes back, right?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Didn't he tweeted out the other day and said he has
Yes.
4 years of eligibility.
Yes. He's
Could be a coach.
absolutely.
He literally said, he goes, I have 4 years of eligibility left. I'm ready.
He loves LSU.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing
loves
about
Will
it
Wade.
is that he loves Will Wade.
So
but
he was a
loves
transfer?
LSU for
I mean,
that.
he was a freshman transfer?
Yeah, bro, but one of the best players in.
So he was a freshman last year.
on that Illinois team that was ranked
dropping
number 1 in the
18.
country at certain times during the year last year.
And he transferred here so he was a sophomore right now, a true
And
sophomore.
he was named MVP of the Olympic team in the offseason of the World Games. Was it World Games?
World Games.
World
Yeah.
Games.
So redshirt sophomore next year.
You got 4
He's
years.
coming back. Tari Eason, potentially you get back.
I mean, can I put a future on it now for next year?
I'm telling you, dude.
Maybe.
It's crazy to think of. I mean, Jarrell Colbert, another year in the program. Alex Fudge, another year in
That's
the
what I was
program.
gonna
Justice
say.
Williams.
I love
Fudge.
that
Justice
guy.
Williams should be
Justice
ready.
Williams.
Should be ready to go.
Boy, this
For
is
Tom
gonna. This is
Fudge.
we may be
Eric
10,
Gaines coming back.
we may be 10
Aaron Gaines
deep.
coming back.
We may be 10 deep next year.
Oh, I think you're definitely you're 10 deep this year if you've got Miller and Sharif.
True.
I mean,
True.
really, you got a 10-man rotation, which at some points for some teams that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like it's a good problem, but you only have one
You
ball.
remember? You
know
remember?
what I mean?
You remember what Calipari used to do when he had 10 deep? He had 2 5s.
Yeah, just shuffle the
He would
fives.
just shuffle the 5s.
Yeah, shuffle
It was like
the
a
fives.
shift change.
Yeah, hockey shift.
Yeah, awesome.
If the NCAA
And he lost with that team.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I know.
Mm.
The NCAA, if they think they're mad now and putting LSU 25, if this team is what you think it's going to be next year, they're going to be in a real pickle. Dick.
Coach, get them to New Orleans in the Final Four and see how much the NCAA hates them. Mm-hmm. I mean, you thought that chant the other night of "F-U Ohio was classless by the students, which it was. That was terrible. I mean, I hate this. that is classless, man. But get the NCAA to host an
I'm
event
just happy
in the
they're
Final
there.
Four. Yeah, no
They'll
doubt.
figure
And I'm
it
not
out.
bashing them.
They'll
I
figure it
can't. I
out.
can't wait till we figure out. We have like we redo the arena and we do stuff so that the student section get from behind the
Yeah.
basketball goal.
Yeah,
Put them in the middle of the freaking court.
Yeah, they need
or
to
behind the opposing bench.
Yeah. Right. Don't
Like a normal
get
college.
get off behind. Like you're only a factor for one side of the court when you're behind the goal.
But I'm telling you, it's scary to think about how good LSU basketball is going to be next year. Like if they weren't scared of Willie, and they didn't hate him so much, they would be like a preseason top 10 team. You know what I mean? But
They may have to be.
They won't do that.
They may have to put them if we make the run this year, like a deep run, and we have all those guys coming
Is
back.
there anything better than
They
being
have to.
relevant in March?
No.
buddy.
There is nothing better
God, it's
than
awesome 'cause
being relevant,
I
than
get to
having
talk
a
so much
good
shit in the
basketball
clubhouse.
team in March with a real chance to win it,
Mm-hmm.
like a real shot to win the thing. And I'm telling you, nobody wants to match up with LSU in March.
Bro, that gets me through spring training. March
Oh,
Madness,
I
you have the
bet.
boards, you have all the
I
stuff,
bet.
you have the brackets, and when LSU's
Little
good,
gambling with the boys,
when
little
LSU's
jersey
good,
swap.
dude, I get to talk so much shit to these guys. Like, hey, bro, like we ain't just a football school. Like this is us. We're gonna fucking whoop your ass.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then I like my whole goal is to recruit guys. Like, hey, be LSU guys, and they watch them like, oh, I love this team, and they're on
Yeah,
the
because they're
board.
from College of
Yeah,
Marymount.
they
That
don't
was
know.
a first-round pick out of
They
baseball.
don't know.
Oh, y'all got a little squad
They
over
don't
there.
know.
Loyola.
Loyola.
They don't know.
Remember, Falaya brings you the Jordy Culotta Show. Falaya Real Estate. Our friend Barrett Blondo has changed the game in real estate, man.
Blondo.
Everywhere we go, people are talking about Blondo and Falaya Real Estate. See his signs everywhere. Falaya is online at falaya.com. If you like doing things yourself, if you want to save some cash, then you need to check out Falaya Real Estate. It is do-it-yourself for selling your house. If you want more information, visit falaya.com or download the app inside the Google Play and Apple App Store, is which you can find them. Easy to find them online, like we said, at falaya.com. Phone number is 225-939-6153. That's Barrett's cell phone. That'll get you directly into his pocket. Yeah. Shoot him a text if you're feeling a little
Everybody
dangerous.
texts Barrett. He loves it.
R&B
Shoot him a
builders.
text. You're feeling a little salty out there. 939-6153.
Hell of a website.
is his cell phone. Barrett Blondo, Falia Real Estate, Falia.com.
People are upset that you're sitting on the
I'm sorry, I
general
don't mean
space,
to
so
say
we're
that.
gonna
Oh,
have
yeah.
to fix that.
Hey, we get a little AC pumping or a door open. I'm
Just open that door up.
Yeah, Jay, give me
I'm
that door
sweating a
open
little
there.
bit.
You don't
It's a
mind,
little chilly
please.
out there.
Hate to wake you up over
Not
there,
as
big
chilly as
fella.
that Monday night
paying him for
football
that.
game.
Oh
last
my,
night.
yeah. Thank you for bringing that up.
Jeez,
Can we,
that
Fella
game.
hibernating over there.
can we please talk about the Monday Night Football game?
That was amazing.
That looked like a sense of torture.
It really
that looked like a
did.
form of torture.
the wind.
There's
I
a-
don't
there's a
know
couple
how
things.
How do you
how
do
you
it?
could do anything
No.
in that.
Mac Jones was not ready for
Three.
that
No,
moment.
he was
Three.
not.
So cold, dude. He
Bro.
looked freezing.
Yes.
3 pass attempts, and they won.
Belichick.
3 pass
It was
attempts.
crazy.
But
Belichick, stick
what's
to the
also
plan.
what's also impressive.
Stick to the plan.
He
How-
knew the weather a month ago.
Oh no, no doubt. How good of an arm does Josh Allen have? That he was slinging the
He
shit.
was cutting it.
And look, there's sometimes obviously the wind, like the back shoulder throw or digs at the end of the game, like
Right.
the wind kind of took that. But like this guy is piercing the wind with his arm strength, and like I think that is part of the reason why. Obviously he's super talented, but I think it's part of the reason why Buffalo wanted him there.
Yeah.
Because they know that he's so good. He's played in
Yeah.
shitty weather that he can deal with that.
Mac Jones 2 for 3, 19 yards last night on an NFL stat
Watching
line.
Peyton Manning, did you watch that?
Yeah, it was
Oh my
good.
God.
Watching Peyton Eli and like what the fuck's
When
going
Joe
on?
Buck when Joe Buck showed
Why
up.
are you
That was
throwing-
awesome.
Joe Buck was awesome. Joe Buck is
Like,
great.
He
He
was.
was sitting in my house in
He
Cabo.
was so stoned.
Joe Buck was
He was
Right.
so high,
He
bro.
said anything.
He's
I
in
mean,
Cabo.
he just his demeanor. I mean, it was just
Dude.
he was relief meted up.
He
dude.
was.
Joe Buck. I became more of a fan of Joe.
No
I was
doubt
always a
about it.
fan, but more
No
a fan
doubt
of
about
there.
it.
Well, the
No,
last
no.
time he was in Cabo.
Do baseball players like Joe Buck?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I don't understand.
Because I mean,
you?
he calls a lot of baseball.
I do.
You do?
I do. So I was texting. We're in our group text, and me and a couple of buddies were like, I don't understand how people don't like Joe Buck or don't think that he's good. I'm like, Joe
he's
Buck
definitely
is
good.
the top. I think he's
Yeah.
the best
People just
at what he
rub people
does,
the
right?
wrong
Like,
way.
especially during
Well, that's why. That's
Yeah.
why they hate him.
why?
Yeah.
Because he's the best. No, for sure. But like during the MLB
He couldn't give
playoffs.
a fuck.
No,
Because he's so
Obviously.
good.
Obviously. Hey, I'm here.
But dude, during the playoffs, MLB playoffs, he'll do playoff game on Tuesday, playoff game on Wednesday. Now that the contracts with like Fox, sometimes on Thursday night games, he'll do a Thursday night primetime football game, back to baseball, back to
Yeah.
football on Sunday, all back to back, and not miss a beat. And I'm like, that is unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
Unreal.
And
I'll-
such a cool life.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I mean, like
He's in
Jim
Cabo.
Nance, Joe Buck, the life those guys live.
Well, dude,
I
he
mean,
gets an off season too.
Jim Nance will fly from calling the national championship in March Madness to Augusta
Yep.
for the week to get set up to play to call the Masters.
And gets to
then
play
the
golf
Monday
there.
after the Masters wraps, he's playing 18 with the winner.
Yes.
I mean,
What a
like,
life.
The best
and
thing
then
you
he
could
goes
do.
home and he lives in Pebble Beach.
Yep.
Where he has the golf course in his backyard.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, jeez.
Those dudes live great lives.
I
mean,
love
Joe-
Peyton.
They work hard.
Great lives.
When
Yeah, they
Joe
work
Buck,
hard.
when football season's over with, the playoffs are done, football season's over with, Joe Buck has an off season. Like,
He's
Yeah.
like a teacher.
Absolutely.
yeah, so like Joe Buck's got all this time off. Like, he's got houses in Cabo. This dude's
Clearly, we
living
know
it.
that
His
now.
wife's really good at what she does.
She was there
she's
last night.
what,
She
making
was on the
edibles?
field.
She was. She's a reporter too.
Check the brownies, Ben.
Yeah, she was at the game. She was
Yeah.
on the field last
Yep,
night.
yep.
He did a huge shout out to her, a long shout out.
Well, I bet. I mean, to pump the brand, dude. This is my. You've got this absolutely huge platform to be like, and my wife works on it.
Yeah,
here, by the
he
way.
really
It's like,
did.
okay,
He
Joe,
really
thank you.
pumped it.
Yeah, of course.
I loved Peyton talking about the missed touchdown opportunities, like going through all the missed touchdowns. And then he said he watches tape like that at home and
It
like
is
just loves
incredible-
watching missed
It's
touchdown
incredible
opportunities.
how emotional Peyton Manning is on football still.
Yeah.
You know what I
Loves
mean?
it.
Oh, he loves it.
He does.
absolutely
Loves it.
Should coach.
he should coach. He should
should.
absolutely coach. Like,
He don't want to.
why does? But why
he's
not?
already
Because
grinding
of
on
his
it.
family.
Well, because what he's doing right now is he gets the football fix and he doesn't have to worry about coaching anything.
But I think
Yeah.
he wants
He's one of
it,
those
though.
guys that I think wants it.
He wants to fix it. Everything
wants-
he's watching,
does.
he's like, I wish I could be there
He
to
does.
just do this.
He's
He
just like
absolutely
that.
does.
He wants to fix everything.
I mean,
and
like
he could.
He was trying to call the play one time, and he was like, "They need to throw the crossers across the middle," and they throw the out route to the flat, and Eli starts busting his balls a little bit. You know, he's like, "I mean, Peyton, geez, could you just shut up, man? You obviously don't know what you're talking about." But he's like, and he's even like, no, I mean, seriously. I mean, like they're leaving the safety open. I mean, they got the crossers. I mean, like, it's like, dude, who cares?
I'm not wrong.
Who cares? Chill out. Like, who cares?
And he's drinking over there, and he's still getting worked up. Like, he's trying to relax himself.
Right.
You can tell he's like, I'm not going to get fired up about it.
Yes.
And then one thing happens, like, all right, what are we doing here? What are they doing? Are they throwing 3 passes? Like, could you imagine Peyton Manning in that game? Like, we're not going to throw it 3 times. I'm going to throw it 50 times.
Bro, his setup is so show.
Ooh.
I know you said that in our text.
It's so
It is.
show. It's such a
I
show
think,
setup.
I think
Both
his,
of theirs,
his
but I think-
chair should be our model for the big room.
The leather?
Not necessarily his style, but just the style. I mean, it looks
Yeah.
very, because it's very like
You could still get a
game
little...
where
yeah,
you
you're
still
watching.
move around.
Right.
I think that should
You
be the
don't
model.
sink in.
Yeah. You gotta watch those. You know what I mean? We're already small to begin with, bro. We don't want to be feet. You know what I mean? Like feet can't touch the ground.
That's why we have these things, dude.
Yeah. Welcome to the Jordy Culotta show.
Our new furniture, though,
Dangling
will
the
be
feet.
Yeah.
much better. Much
That's
better.
tall.
No doubt. But that was when I saw that last night. I was
Yeah.
like, it's very.
You still get the room
You
to
can
move.
still move.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
right.
stuck in there.
I'm definitely stuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't
Wedged,
hop
I'm
up
wedged
in an
down in here,
emergency.
dude. Remember when
Can't jump
Collis
up.
Temple stood up? The chair came with him.
We had no seat going.
Dude,
Was this in here?
He was in here.
In that chair?
Sat right here,
Yes.
bro. When he got, Collis,
Yeah.
the big
Yeah,
man,
big-
the,
yeah,
the
yeah,
old
yeah.
man.
Biggest guy in here?
When he got up from this chair, like, I mean, like, dude, look at this chair. Like, he sat down, right? I mean, like, and he bookends the chair. When he stood up, the chair came with him. Like,
Lifted him.
was on his ass.
I mean, I sat in this chair and like I feel like but I can't imagine him sitting in this
Bro.
chair like that. He's huge.
I
How
know.
tall is he?
6'7".
6'7",
Yeah, I
but just
think
this is
that's
a
right.
big.
That's
But
what I'm
he's-
saying. Biggest
he's
guy we've
all
ever
of
had
it.
in studio.
Tyrus
Tyrus?
has been in here,
But-
but Tyrus is
Tyrus leaner.
Has no weight to
6'10",
him,
and-
yeah.
I mean, he weighs 190 pounds.
Quincy.
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 I mean, when Quincy walked into the room,
Remember? I remember.
I remember.
we were like,
You
Whoa.
were.
You think you want to
Whoa.
come to LSU?
oh my god.
Hello, sir.
Hey,
This guy.
just got a tattoo.
What's
Sorry,
that
excuse
tat you
me.
keep messing with
Yeah.
the whole time?
Beast.
That was it.
So it
Beast?
seems like I made
I mean,
the
it just
yeah, it
got
just
the
says
fresh
beast
tat,
on
just
it.
like with the beast.
Yeah.
So let me tell you
You're
the-
looking at it the
Let
whole
Let me tell you the
time.
coolest tattoo I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So Chad Jones
Oh yeah.
has flames on his ankles, coming up from his
What?
ankles.
Really?
That's
and-
the Tyron Matthew did that.
I gotta look
Maybe,
this up.
but
Yeah.
but we were we were practicing at LSU before we went to Omaha, and him and Leon started talking shit to each other about who was faster.
Oh.
Right?
These are
And
my
so-
types of stories.
so we had,
only one way to
like-
figure it out, boys.
This was like when you know those like flip cameras that they're
Yeah, hell yeah.
so
hell yeah.
ESPN gave everybody that was going to the World
Jared
Series.
Mitchell dominated that thing.
Yeah, of course. So the Laffy Taffy jokes and shit. Yeah.
Yes.
So they gave us this flip camera, and Buzzy Heidel, who's awesome, which I would love to have Buzzy sit here and
No
just
doubt.
give stories.
No doubt.
Buzzy was in control of the camera. So Buzzy's filming. He's like, oh, all right, let's just race. Let's figure it out. And Maneri's like sweating. Like he doesn't want these guys to get hurt.
Boys,
But-
boys, boys.
So we race them, right?
Boys.
They race in a 60. And Buzzy's filming with this little flip camera, and Chad beats him, right? And Chad looks down, and he's looking at the camera, and he says something, and he looks down, and the camera goes down his ankles, and he starts fanning off his ankles with the flames. And I'm like,
That's
dude,
hilarious.
That is
sick.
so good.
That
That
is
is.
sick.
The best is Patrick Peterson trying to tell him which way to go in the Mississippi State punt return with the whip. He's like, what do you do? And he's like, dude, I got it. Cool out, Pat. I'm good. I got the ball.
Just give me the sideline.
Yeah, just get me open.
Just hit somebody.
Oh, man.
What an athlete.
The
What
best.
an athlete.
The best, huh? The best you played
Probably
with?
the best athlete that I've ever played with, yeah. Freakishly athletic. Like, he doesn't even know how he was doing things. He was just doing it. Like, it just seemed easy. And I think that, I mean, that to me, that's how you know someone's a really good athlete. It was like, hey, go throw a baseball. Okay, I'll throw 94 miles an hour. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I can just do it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really know
Pick
what
up a
I'm
golf
doing.
club, hit it
yeah,
straight.
yeah. Like I don't really know what I'm doing at the plate, but I can hit the ball 450 feet.
You want
like,
me to race your center fielder? I'll beat him.
Yeah, right.
What the hell?
And he's a good dude, bro. He's just a good.
He is a solid dude.
Man,
bro.
I wish. Can't really say all the stories, but he has so many stories. We could write books on Chad Jones stories. It's so
I
funny.
want to hear more.
So
I love the
funny.
Chad Jones segment.
It should,
We gotta
it should
get
be
Chad.
weekly.
I gotta text Chad. Get him in here.
Yeah.
that'd
Yeah,
be
get
cool.
Get him
Chad
on
in
your
here.
show.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him on the show.
Which, by the way, we've got a lot of stuff happening over here
Ooh,
in the
look at
Jordy
that
Culotta
segue.
show. Yep. Mic'd up.
Mic'd up, baby.
is the
K.
name of Mikey's show.
With a K.
That we will be launching as soon as we get into the new DL.
The noodle.
And that will be sometime right after the first of the year. We've got a lot of exciting stuff happening. We're starting to get in and get moving over there. A lot of things should happen this week. Should get painted up. Should get wired up. The furniture should be in.
We're starting to. I'm starting.
looking right at me.
I'm actually starting to.
Are you in control of all this?
What the?
We mopped.
We mopped.
Lloyd said that we would be wired up by today.
Ready to go. We're doing it from there right now.
Lloyd said.
We're actually talking about getting we're planning interviews. So people in the chat listen to the show. If y'all want to hear or see someone and talk someone, us to talk to someone, throw it in there.
Yeah.
Give us some recommendations. I mean, there's nobody's off limits. Just say, we'll just ask. Worst thing you can say is no.
Absolutely.
It's very exciting.
Remember City Cafe. If you're looking for somewhere to eat lunch today, check out City Cafe, citycafebr.net. O'Neill and George O'Neill is where you can find them. Where good friends meet. They've got lunch specials every single day, and they've got brunch every Sunday. They open up at 10 a.m. Remember, City Cafe, citycafebr.net. Our good friends over there. Squeaky Miranda, Cody Miranda, Dirk and the crew. City Cafe, a proud supporter here of the Jordy Culotta Show. Mike Smith is the new place. Sheetrock or panel walls? We have upgraded to sheetrock, Mike.
Yeah, no panel.
No panel walls in the new spot.
Andrew, everyone in here looks so disappointed.
Well, I saw the sheetrock.
But no. But the backdrop is going to be sick.
Yeah, we don't need panels.
We don't need panels. What we got going.
Andrew Messina, DJ LeMahieu would be an interesting conversation. He seems like a quiet guy.
Very quiet guy. DJ's very funny, and he's very. He'll drop some one-liners, but
Hammer.
Whoa.
I'm just wondering, a quiet guy like that is winning the slugger. Seems like
He does have BD energy.
He does.
Deej
York Yankee don't even know it.
Deej doesn't really like the. But I it's can't hurt. I'll text him and see. But he doesn't really like the limelight.
Nobody's surprised how good he is, right? Former players.
Same. I mean, this is what he did at LSU. I think what's more surprising to me is that the Cubs got rid of him. And they didn't think that he was going to be able to sustain that. And then he goes and rakes in Colorado, and then he's still kind of underrated because he's in Colorado. And it's like, well, here's the deal, though. Like, he's in Colorado, but his game isn't Colorado-esque. Like, he's not just popping homers because he's in Colorado. He's hitting balls everywhere. And then he goes to New York, and, like, if anything, New York fits his game more than Colorado fits his game because all he does is hit balls to right field, and that right field wall is so short. And obviously, he raked. I mean, he won the batting title in both leagues. First person in the history of Major League Baseball to do that.
Unbelievable.
Just a guy on the team.
Gold Glove too, right?
Oh, multiple Gold Gloves. Second, and now he didn't even play second.
He's not getting paid enough at this point. Like, you could put that.
He had a little bit of a down. I mean, look, his down year is 275 last year, but I mean, that to me
set the bar so up.
Yeah, to me that just means he's gonna hit 330 next year. You know, like his game plays for so long. Like he can like it's so the longevity.
Old man game.
Yeah, I mean it's just peppers balls to right center and then just comes up with some huge. I mean he is the biggest hit of the College World Series in 2009.
No doubt about it.
It was 2 outs in the 9th inning and he had that double down the line.
No doubt about it. Hitting to the corner. Shout out to Jack Besh. Besh named freshman All-American on Monday on 2 squads. On Monday, Go 247 announced him as a true freshman All-American, and PFF named him as one as well. Besh, of course, 43 passes caught this season. It seems like every 43, all 43 were a big play.
Yeah.
Were a big play. I mean, every single time he touched the football, something good happened.
I'm excited to see Brian Kelly use him because Brian Kelly's so good at using tight ends and, like, hybrid tight ends that I know he's not probably going to be a tight end. He's probably more of a receiver next year, but they used him. I think that, like, Brian Kelly's so good at that.
Besh was he was also hard to bring down after the catch. Broke 17 tackles as a true freshman and averaged 6.5 yards per catch. After the catch, 6.5 yards after the catch. He does run very, very aggressive and merry man, and he's only going to get stronger.
No doubt. I mean, he's a freak.
Faster.
He's a freak.
He is.
He's a freak athlete.
Good for him.
He's got a 12-pack. And he can run. He's got.
No.
I mean, he's. What?
Oh no.
Well, don't give me that.
wrong,
We just
Lloyd?
talked to Shazz Preston.
Oh, he just committed.
And Sean Preston just tweeted, "Thanks to Alabama coach Golding for visiting the boot on yesterday. Alabama football, Shazz Preston.
Oh, that's okay.
He had an in-home yesterday with Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, you knew that was coming.
I didn't know what you were going to
You
say.
maybe you. That was
Wasn't such
dramatic.
doom and gloom.
That was so
But he just
dramatic.
That was
tweeted
overly
17 minutes
dramatic.
ago. I mean,
That was so dramatic.
That was,
Oh.
Lloyd. We got scared.
Robert Miller says Durante Jones is the lead candidate to be the defensive coordinator at Penn State. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of days here.
Thanks for the $5, Robert Miller.
Yeah, thank you for
We
the super
appreciate
chat
that.
there.
Durante or the field? If like, who would you want?
I take the field. at
Of
this
who you
point.
think's gonna happen, or
Yeah.
who would you want at LSU?
Oh, good. That's a better question.
Thank you.
I really don't
No.
have
I don't know. I don't have a preference.
A
I like the way
top
he ended the season as a defensive coordinator.
out there. But I do like the way that Jones. I just don't know how much Kelly is looking to hold on to the pass of LSU.
Oh, I mean, you
Yeah,
saw
but
it with
I
the
just-
Moffitt.
To me, though, I don't think Durante Jones is like much of the. I mean, I guess it is his hire, but he's not really the pass.
agree.
He's
No, but
kinda-
that's still you're higher. You got to bring in your
right.
own guys.
No, I get it.
I agree. All right, I'm off to the dentist.
Oh,
Yeah.
you sound
Oh,
so
thank you.
excited.
I gotta
Thank
bring
you,
my
Katie.
dog to daycare.
Thank you for the concern.
We do have a little show work that we have to do.
Oh, yeah?
We've been talking TV shows, right? I watched the Beatles documentary instead of the football
We
game
know.
last
I
night.
started it last night.
It's awesome.
Hey.
Lloyd's texting us, and we're like, "What? You're watching the Beatles documentary?"
The dad just retired, you know. Little,
Yeah,
I do want to
watch
see
a
it.
little
I
Beatles.
can't wait to see that.
Let me run to the,
Was it awesome? Was
Let
it
me run
awesome?
to the pharmacy for us, Dad, real quick.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. He's still got that DR in front of the name, dude. But but when you talked about the Von Dutch, I watched some of the Von Dutch documentary. That thing is janky as hell.
Is it wild?
Yes, it does not remind me of this show at all.
Is it
That
wild?
made me nervous.
No,
that
just
you,
getting going.
Yes, they're all over the
It's
place.
amazing, bro. How
They don't know
wild
what
it
they're
was.
doing. But the
Um,
Beatles, it has a lot more of that feel of what we're trying to do here, where it's like because
First
it's
all,
all behind the scenes
The
stuff.
Love
footage.
it.
It's so good.
How
My
much
dad thought it was
to
fake.
light? It looks fake.
Well,
It looks. I mean, well, it's definitely not the 1960s edition of it.
no, they
I mean,
HD'd that thing
The
up.
way
Yeah.
that they have hired. I mean, Jordan. Have you seen this? The Beatles documentary.
Peter Jackson.
I would love to see.
Peter Jackson.
I would love
Wow.
to
That's who did
hear
it?
Yes.
That's. I mean, he's
somebody who understands film and post editing of film, how they take the footage that they have, which I'm sure the original stuff is incredible, but it's got to be grainy
Yes.
and unable to. I mean, like what the life that they have brought the footage. And I only watched 10 minutes before I was snoring last night, but
relief, man.
the 10 minutes that I saw was just like. This is amazing. Like,
It feels
it's-
fake.
It does feel fake.
Where is it at?
It is
Where
the,
do you see it?
It is the Beatles in real life. I mean, it feels like it is like it's all in color. It's all you
Real,
can, you
visceral.
can hear. I mean,
It's
like,
HD.
it is. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And what they do is so like some of the things that look fake, or they're playing B-roll footage that you just grab of them like sitting in conversation, but they're not actually talking, but they're overlaying that with
Yes.
conversation that it seems like maybe this is what they were talking about. So they have so much audio, and then they just can finally match the video with it, but it's not the same video. So it's a little kind of awkward to watch at the beginning, but when they get into like the band stuff and like this is definitely what they're doing right now, it is unbelievable.
Where
It
do you
is-
where do you watch this? If I want to watch
Disney
it?
Disney
Plus.
Plus.
Disney. Oh, I
Oh,
love
it's on
some
Disney Plus?
So
Wow.
so we
Wait,
got
so I have to subscribe to that to get
I
it.
did it
then?
last night. I did the month. I'm just
You
gonna
did?
watch and cancel
Okay.
it after
Yeah,
the month.
Okay.
$7.99.
That's when I told,
Okay.
well, you know, Dad just retired, and I was like, the first thing you do is sign up for Disney. Kind of sketchy, Dad.
That's weird.
What am I gonna do with all this off time?
All right,
Impossible.
enjoy your Tuesday out there. Today is Salute. This is Pearl Harbor, right?
It
This
is.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
this is Pearl
December
Harbor
7th, the
Day.
day that will live on for
Infamy.
infamy. So a great big salute to our
Woke up the
soldiers
sleeping
out
giant.
there.
I saw the sunken ship
Really?
in Hawaii when it was still leaking oil at Pearl
Oh,
Harbor. I think I
wow.
was like 8.
What?
Yeah, it
Wow.
was still leaking.
Oh, do you know the
I
name
mean,
of it?
It wasn't so long ago that it stopped leaking. It's the what was it? I should know the name of it. That's awful.
You know it?
USS.
Do you know
What
it?
is
Do you
it?
know
I
it?
mean, I know it. I'm just not gonna
What
say
is
is
it?
it?
What is it? We don't know.
Come on, I forgot. Just say it.
You went to visit it.
I did go visit it.
What is it,
But
though?
clearly I'm forgetting. What's the
Let's
name
see.
of it?
You don't.
You don't
know it.
Somebody just tell us. And
You
then
don't
we'll go.
know
I knew
it.
he didn't know it. I mean, he's
The
sitting over
Honolulu
No, that's not it.
Johnson, the Red
No.
Dragon.
Oh, what is it? I feel
Do you know it?
terrible for
No, I
not
don't know
knowing
it.
that. Arizona.
That's
it?
what it is. I said Honolulu.
Yes, Andrew went 10 years ago. Too,
Huh,
and
you
it was
said
still
Honolulu.
leaking.
That's even close to Arizona.
Yeah, but it's very close. They're the same ballpark.
Oh,
50.
my
Hawaii.
God.
Hawaii. So yeah, that was cool to see.
Mike Smith, his grandpa was in the ship by Pearl Harbor when it happened.
Wow.
Wow.
That is amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Salute to all the men and women who lost their lives that day,
for
man.
sure.
Rest in peace.
They're
What
doing a huge thing at the World War II Museum in New Orleans.
Really?
If
today
you've never
for
been
it,
to
yeah.
that, it is the most. It's the
amazing.
coolest
Yeah.
thing
It's a
I've ever.
lot.
I haven't been to it in forever. And I want to go because
It's
they've changed it.
different
But
now.
like, it is the coolest thing I've ever been. I love history, so that's. Yeah.
Tom Hanks
It's
is
a
all
lot.
over that.
Yep.
He is. He is
Yep.
all over it.
Great relief med day. Go to the World War II museum. You might learn a little something.
Joe Buck.
Joe Buck. Wait, you've heard the story about how he was in Cabo. The last time he went to Cabo when he ate a cosmic brownie.
Yes, he
And
told the story on
he-
Levitard, didn't he?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So he didn't get into it last night, but
Brownie.
whenever he said he was in Cabo, I was like, oh no, we got high Joe Buck. Going and like, just let
Love
me
that.
sit down. He drank the Uber guy's Coke. He was like, I'm just so thirsty. Cracked. He's like, what are you doing? And he's
Love
like, I
that.
just don't know what to do. He fell down the stairs at the restaurant.
God, I love Joe
Oh
Buck.
my
I love
I do.
Joe Buck.
I love
I do
Joe
too.
Buck.
That's hilarious.
I
We
love
should
Joe
get
Buck.
him on.
Okay, yeah, Katie, and we'll get Obama
Not
right
like
after
in
that.
person, but like an interview. Jordy can get him. Come on.
Get down to the new DL.
Yeah, let's
on,
build
Joe,
let's
get to
build
the
some.
new He would
some
vibe
more-
with us.
No
right?
doubt,
He
but
would vibe with us.
We need Cabo Joe.
Relief
Yeah.
med is our entry point.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jordy's stalling. He doesn't want to leave.
He doesn't.
You dude, you're so right.
He
But it'll
doesn't
be
want to go.
over.
Like
An hour and
he's
a half
trying.
and you're
He
done.
keeps trying to say he's going, then he does. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't
Oh,
want to go.
man. What else can we talk about?
Chad's over there
Get
like
that-
waiting with his tools.
Get that laughing gas on.
Hey, is he in the parking lot? Yeah, I think he's pulling up.
New battery.
You're so-
New battery in the drill.
He's polishing up that drill right now.
Sparks coming off. Of
Oh,
the
it
fake
seems like I'm a
tooth.
little late. I can't make it.
All right.
You should do it
I
live.
might
We
go
should
with
have done it live
I might
here.
go with the old high school flat tire.
No, he knows now. He's
Dude.
hearing you say that.
Yeah.
What I used to do in high school, it obviously braces.
Mm-hmm.
I would fake the orthodontist appointment
Oof.
and go to McDonald's and just sit there for
Yeah.
and knock out like 2 hours of class.
Yeah.
Then I would walk into the orthodontist and go, "Oh, I thought I had an appointment today," and they'd
Uh-uh.
be like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, I have school." They'd give me a school excuse.
Wow.
And I
Stop
did
it, Lloyd.
as soon as
Lloyd.
from
That's pretty
16
solid.
to
What a
18.
shot.
That's pretty
And I-
solid.
Thank you, thank you.
Pretty nice.
I would go to
Jeez,
McDonald's and just listen to SVP and Rosillo, and I was like, "This is
Wow.
the best,"
Nice.
This is the life.
and lived it like that.
Wow.
And then I got the braces off, and I was like, "Oh, you have some follow-ups." You
Yeah.
know, I ran it until the absolute end of the road.
Yeah,
dude.
right.
Like, what are you doing in here? It's like, I thought I had a follow-up maybe for like, no, dude, get out. And I was like, okay, I gotta go.
USS Honolulu.
That's why you missed that.
Right.
You missed that day.
Have a great day. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Go Chevrolet drives and powers us every day.
Thank you.
All right. My dog. I'm coming back, Lloyd.